Hello, Injustice Mobile community. So, we're here today. Oh, hold on. There we go. We're here today to do one thing, and that's fix my multiplayer rankings tier list. So, if you haven't seen my other video, I ranked every single one of these cards from S tier all the way down to F tier, all 144 of them. But I use Tierlist Maker, or whatever that website is, and it's trash. It doesn't really work for Injustice because you have kind of carry cards and then you have support cards. So instead, I made my own, and this kind of explains my reasoning. In multiplayer, if you don't know, you want a team power of 110 to 120,000. The reason being that at more than 120,000 team power, you face more opponents with like max gear score and like multiplayer gears, and that's going to decrease your efficiency if you have to face 7 Astro harnesses in an ultimate ladder versus just like 1 or 2 of them. So ideally, you want to be in that 110 to 120 range to still look at this, 34,300 battle points versus 35,000 with 120k plus team power. So you face significantly weaker enemies using 112,000 team power than you do if you use 120 plus thousand team power, and you only receive 700 and less BP for like an entire epic ladder. I mean, that's really not much of a cost at all. You save much more time in the long run because you're able to do probably, I don't know, 1.2, 1.3 times as many runs in an hour as you can using a team with like 130,000 power, and you only receive 700 less per ladder. So in the end, it's a lot more efficient to use this range. If you don't know how it's calculated, it's 0.6 times your strongest, plus 0.3 times your middle, plus 0.1 times your weakest. So with that in mind, I've ranked every single card, all 144 of them. I've classified them by either carries or supports based off of how I best think that they function in this game. Obviously, for every single one of your carries, you're going to need to have 2 supports. So it's good in general that this game has more carries, or has more support cards than carry cards. It works just for online spreads because cards have energy and you don't want to keep having to use energy. So it's good to have a variety of teams that like function with different carries. I've ranked also every single like division because people are often like, what's the best Flashpoint card? What's the best Blackest Night card? What's the best Arkham card? So I've ranked all of those based off of my tier list. After I made this list, I went back and categorized them based off their placements. Anything in yellow that's outlined like this, you can see in my legend, they function as either carries or supports. So like Blackest Night Batman, obviously one of the best carries in this game, but if you want to use him as a support for a different Blackest Night team, that's also viable. So I've put him in yellow. Luchador Bane, on the other hand, there's only one way you should be using him in this game, and that's as an Elite X level 60 carry to basically demolish teams with a single special one. He works best at Elite X level 60 because his stats are still less than you see over here. I said 170,000 for your carry is kind of ideal because 0.6 times that is like 102,000. So that's right in the range you want to be. Luchador Bane Elite X level 60 has stats that are less than this, so you can actually augment his damage to get to this range, and that's why he's such a powerful card. So yeah, without further ado, I want to start. I guess I'll go through the carries first. Yeah, I'll go through my list of carries, and I'll just talk about each one of them as we go and explain why I think they're the best. This is completely, I think I'm going to delete my other tier list video, because like I just didn't quite, like, even though I've been playing this game for probably 10 years now, I think I maybe needed to split it up like this to really rank these cards, because like there's no point ranking like Batgirl Prime in the same list as AO Deathstroke. They just have 2 completely different purposes. So there's no point putting them in the same ranking list. So here, let me get my list. Here we go. Okay, so first up for the carries. This is like my favorite card. If you haven't seen my Survivor mode video as well, I mean, obviously this is for multiplayer mode, but he's also the best card for Survivor. We're just going to keep zooming in. Okay, so here we have Arkham Origins Deadshot. And this card is a menace. Strong multi-hit special too, but it's really his passive that I'm so fanatic over, because his passive is Bullets from Deadshot, Sniper Rifle, and Wrist Guns ricochet, dealing damage to all characters on the enemy team. So he has AoE damage built into his passive, which is insane because he can also be teamed up with Batman Ninja Lord Joker to do more AoE damage. So he has a multi-hit special 2 that has infinite range. That's something that I'm going to keep emphasizing. Having infinite range on your special 2 is incredibly powerful. He can also be teamed up with Arkham Harley Quinn to give him an unblockable special 2. You notice that my top 3 in my carries all have unblockable special 2s. Same for Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight. He has one that's unblockable because he can be paired with Arkham Harley Quinn. That's what makes them so deadly. That's why they're at the top of the list in my mind, because if you're grinding online, you want to be as efficient as possible, and that means you don't want to get blocked. If you have a special that's blocked, you're just not doing as much damage. So these guys all have special 2s that can become unblockable with the right supports, and that's why they're all so powerful. But AO Deadshot in particular, if you augment his stats right, like right now I have him at Elite 9, and I've augmented him in damage. So he's at 82,215 damage and 89,000 health. And his special 2, basically, it's a 6-hit special 2. But any single one of those hits will eliminate an enemy opponent. And I'm going to make an MP video kind of showcasing what I'm talking about. That'll be my next video. Just showcasing my fastest multiplayer teams and playing for probably an hour or however long it takes me to get to 1 million using these teams. And I want to showcase basically each one of these carries. Every single one of these carry cards, I think, can be put onto their own specific team and do like insane damage, do insane work. So yeah, AO Deadshot, if you give him League of Assassins Knives, he's a menace on multiplayer mode. You use a special one, the enemy team loses all their health. Same as Luchador Bane, same as AO Deathstroke. I'm not saying that's any different, but it's his special 2 that we love so much, and his ability to be paired with Batman Ninja Lord Joker. So on to number 2 for the carries, we have AO Deathstroke. AO Deathstroke, again, has an unblockable special 1 that's part of his passive. He also has an unblockable special 2 if he's teamed with Arkham Harley Quinn, who is right over here in the support category. But yeah, I have him just after AO Deadshot. His special 2 is a 5-hit plus a last hit, so it's also a 6-hit special 2. But it's so incredibly powerful. It can kill multiple opponents. It doesn't have infinite range on the startup, so you can't use Tantu and MDC combo. But you can if you just use a heavy swipe. If you tag him in with the Tandu Totem and the Master's Death Card equipped and use one single heavy swipe and then use your special 2, then it'll be perfect. It'll connect every time. So with that in mind, he also benefits from Batman Ninja Lord Joker's passive, meaning you team him with Batman Ninja Lord Joker and Batgirl Prime. He tags in with 2 bars of power, and he uses a special 1 that does team damage, that's unblockable, that's automatically crit, and he has bonus damage per promotion as part of his passive. So you're hitting even harder than you could. He just hits at such a high damage range. He just eliminates anything in his path. There's no team other than possibly Arkham Knight Batgirl tagging in to save, or Batman Ninja Catwoman getting tagged in. That's the only 2 teams that really resist either of these cards. Red Sun teams die to both of these cards because of team damage. Up next, we got Blackest Night Batman. This card is so juicy. I think the fastest team in the game on MP might use this card, but it's honestly a tie between these 3 in terms of how efficient you can be in finishing up an epic ladder as fast as possible. It's probably a 3-way tie for these. Luchador Bane may also be included in that tie. Also, honestly, the Arkham Knight may be included in that tie. And same for Flashpoint. These 2 guys with a Flashpoint Batman team all are competitors for the fastest team you can make in this game. But anyway, let's talk about Blackest Night Batman. He himself has unblockables on his specials. So teaming him with Blackest Night teammates like Blackest Night Superman just increases those odds, which make him even more powerful, more reliable. The second part of his passive, where he deals more damage as they have less health, that'll help you pretty much one-shot kill anything if you have him at Elite 9 in his team, or Elite 8 even, I think. Is that what I have him at? No, I have him at Elite 10. I have him Elite 10 and damage augmented, so where he has 85,000 damage and 91,000 health. So he's sitting at 176,000 for me, but his teammates are both Elite 0, and that's Blackest Night Superman and Batgirl Prime. And he's just a menace. He has unblockables on his specials. He can be made immune to unblockables because of Blackest Night Superman. So he benefits from the Blackest Night teams. I don't really like Blackest Night the Flash as a teammate for him because the Flash just isn't that efficient of a card. But Hawkgirl is also useful for just making him more resistant to dying as your carry, because you need a carry that's going to be resistant to dying if you want to continuously, win your epic ladders. You don't want to be losing an epic ladder every like 5-6 ladders. That's just not efficient. So, he has many teammates that boost him, and he also has a 3-hit special too. That's, although not infinite range, you can do 2 heavy swipes just like AO Deathstroke, and then you can activate it, and you have a perfectly connectable special too. It's 3 hit, and each one of those hits gets you past the Astro Harness barriers. So really, something to consider in the S tier is whether or not these cards can get you past an Astro Harness barrier. These cards towards the end usually cannot, and these cards towards the top of my list usually can with a single hit bypass like an enemy opponent who's a tank. And that's the most useful feature about all these cards, that you don't have to worry about those Astral Harness barriers slowing down your speed. And you don't have to worry about... Yeah, that's mainly it. That's what really determines your order for multiplayer efficiency. Up next at number 4, we got Luchador Bane. Obviously, he's the special 1 GOAT. He has a 1-hit that will wipe the entire enemy team's health with the League of Assassins Knives, Cloak of Destiny. Or if you have him at the right range, which I have him at Elite X level 60, completely damage augmented, so he has maximum basic damage. I don't have any of the health support cards for like the Joker, the Killing Joke Joker. I don't have any of the Alliance cards for health. So his health is only at 93k. His total stats for me are 170k even, and he has 77,000 damage. So he's hitting like a brick. You don't even need the Cloak of Destiny. You can give him LexCorp Gauntlets so that he has the increased stun chance, and it's basically a guaranteed stun, and it is a guaranteed crit if you use LexCorp Gauntlets instead of Cloak of Destiny. So he's a very, very reliable card when teamed with Hawkgirl Prime and either Flashpoint Batman or Arkham Origins Batman. And because of that, he's the best special 1 carry in the game. All these cards are special 2 carry above him, and I think special 2 carries are just better in general than special 1 carries because they can have multi-hits usually, and multi-hits can clear multiple opponents. Like Luchador Bane, unless you use his special 2, you're using your special 1 multiple times. Even though it's the quickest special 1 in the game, it's just rapid tap, it still takes time to use 3 of them. Versus Blackest Night Batman, you tag in, use 1 special 2, and the entire enemy team is dead. It's that simple. So for that reason, I put Luchador Bane at 4th. He is still a contender for one of the fastest teams you can make in this game. And when I make my multiplayer video, you'll see exactly what I mean. But yeah, once you damage and crit augment this guy, he's a monster. He's part of the best tag team build in this game. And his stats fortunately are low, so you can augment him to that ideal 170k plus range that you want for your carry to be at. Because obviously your middle card and your weakest card, if you keep them Elite 0, like I say, like your supports, you should have an Elite 9, an Elite 0, and an Elite 0. And the only reason these are different is because some of these gold cards have a little bit higher stats. So I said your point 3 is probably going to be a higher stat card, and your point 1 is usually a lower stat card. But it doesn't really matter if this is 25 or 20k, because that difference is negligible, because it's only 0.3 versus a 0.6 multiplier is a lot more noticeable for your carry. So Luchador Bane, his low stats are actually a beautiful blessing because it lets him stay at this ideal range at Elite X level 60. And he's just an absolute monster. He has stun on tagging. You combine him with tag team teammates, and it's over. It's over. The rounds go fast. The only difficulties he faces is Red Sun teams, Red Sun, Green Lantern, and then of course the Arkham tag-in, Arkham Knight Batgirl. She resists pretty much every card, so there's always that counter that you have to worry about. But yeah, Luchador Bane kind of struggles against it just because he has such low health. So even though he's the best special 1 carry, you can sometimes lose ladders with him on your team. But yeah, he's insane. So yeah, if you want to promote him Elite X, augment him, you're good to go. Moving on to Arkham Knight, the only reason he does have team damage on his special 2, which is crazy. It's the highest team damage, I think, passive, one of the highest in the game. And his special 2 is also a couple very powerful hits followed by a bunch of weak hits. So it'll help you finish off multiple opponents with one special 2. He is very powerful. The reason I put him below the other Deathstroke and the other Deadshot is just because they have more efficient, I think, special 2s. But he's a beast. Augment him, give him Tantu Totem, MDC. He has an infinite range special 2, unlike Deathstroke. So that is very useful. Yeah, I have him, I believe, Elite 9. But I'm planning, I think, on getting him Elite 10. I'm not really quite sure yet. I think I'm going to leave him at Elite 9 and just damage augment him up to 170,000. Yeah, that's probably what I'll be doing soon enough. But moving on, Regime Wonder Woman. Okay, you're gonna think I'm crazy putting her above Flashpoint Aquaman and Flashpoint Deathstroke. But listen. There's a team I have with Regime Wonder Woman that just flies through because she has a powerful 2-hit special 2. You make her Elite X level 60. You augment her damage. That's what you need to do. Make her Elite X level 60. Augment her damage. Don't buy the Joker support cards. The Joker health support cards. And she, with a special 2, it's a 2-hit, and each of the hits will kill an opponent. You use your special 2 twice, and it's game over. Every time. It doesn't matter. It bypasses Astro Harness. Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight does not usually bypass Astro Harness, whereas Regime Wonder Woman does. The only reason I said Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight is better is because he also has the benefit of the unblockable from Arkham Harley Quinn. But Regime Wonder Woman, powerful 2-hit special 2, powerful 1-hit special 1 that can also, she can be built as a special 2 or a special 1 carry. And she benefits from Shazam's passive, she benefits from any new 52 passive, but I think her best team, actually, here I have it written down on she's one of my carries, so I have her on my team's list. I believe Regime Wonder Woman's best team is to pair up with AO Batman to shatter gear and 600 Wonder Woman to generate power. And with her as your Elite X 60 carry, I mean, you'll see in my video. Just watch my video that comes out in a few weeks, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. On to Flashpoint Aquaman. Obviously, his barrier with 40% reflecting damage from specials is ridiculously powerful. He can be built as a tank for any of your defense teams. He's a wonderful tank on defense teams. He benefits from Flashpoint Batman's passive, so he has a 5 times multiplier on his specials on crit. If you would like to build him as a carry, my ideal Flashpoint team, which is how I have built my Flashpoint team, is both of these guys at Elite 7 and Flashpoint Batman obviously at Elite 0. This puts you at 120 team power, but because Deathstroke is my actual carry, the one hit, when Deathstroke uses a special 1, Aquaman and Batman both tag in for a hit. Aquaman's single hit can wipe pretty much any enemy except for like Injustice 2 Aquaman, and it'll always crit. You can build him so that he always crits on it. So with that build of Elite 7, and Elite 0, I think the Flashpoint team works best. I rarely have a match that goes over 10 seconds with that team. It's so crazy. I'm going to showcase it in my video as well. But yeah, so I say Elite 7 for both of these guys. But if you want to use either one of them as a carry in the Flashpoint team, you can do that. But yeah, really, the most threatening thing about these guys is the 5 times multiplier from Flashpoint Batman and the ability to crit against characters who are immune to crit, like Red Sun, Green Lantern, and Arkham Knight Batman. Because they have that ability, nothing holds these guys back except for Arkham Knight Batgirl tag in and Batman Ninja Catwoman being rescued. Both of those rescues still kind of pose a threat to this team when you're trying to do efficient battling, but other than that, they're monsters. Flashpoint's Batman's passive also shuts off Resurrects, so if you use a special and then immediately tag into Deathstroke and use a special, that's it. The match is over. They're some of the fastest carries you can have in this game. They have busted stats, very broken stats. And you'll see my team build in my next video. Moving on, Ares. I just kind of talked about Deathstroke too. The only reason I say Deathstroke is worse than Aquaman is because Aquaman can be used with New 52 Shazam to build an invincible defensive tank. If you want to do that, that's like a lot of fun. And Deathstroke just doesn't have the ability to work with as many teams. Deathstroke has to be put on a Flashpoint team, whereas Aquaman can fit into many other teams. They're both just as efficient though. You want to augment Aquaman, I think, before Deathstroke, but you want to ideally crit augment and damage augment both of these cards. Really, anyone in S tier, I think, is worthy of receiving damage augments, or crit augments. So all of these cards, I think, if you crit augment them, you're not going wrong. You're going to have a good time. You're going to speedrun in multiplayer a lot easier than you used to be able to if you follow my formula. If you follow, and it's not even, I'm not going to take credit for this. Like someone else has certainly discovered these facts that 120,000 plus power you face opponents that are stronger, that you should build according to this formula 0.6 times your strongest, plus 0.3 times your medium, plus 0.1 times your weakest. Like, I'm not the one who discovered this, but not enough people seem to understand that this is how you should play the game, because multiplayer isn't changing. They haven't changed the meta. This is the new meta. This is the current meta. You want to have an ideal power around this. So, when you augment these cards specifically and put them on teams with 110 to 120 power, they are going to be so useful. You'll see what I mean in my video. So Ares Prime is an unblockable special 2, and it makes your opponents unable to block, which is probably the second best part of his passive. You can just tag him in, team him with Batgirl Prime and Hawkgirl Prime. He's one of the best carries for a tag team like that. He can be teamed up with so many cards. If you give him crit augments, he's he's far better with crit augments. Yeah, not much to say. You can finish most matches in under 10 seconds, but he struggles against teams with Resurrect unless you give him like Enchantress, and he struggles a little bit more against, I think, Red Sun teams than other teams. He also struggles against an Arkham Knight Batgirl tagging in to save her teammates. That's something that'll slow you down with Ares because he has low health, so he might die, and you don't want to lose him if he's your carry. So it kind of helps to give him Astro Harness, Tanu Totem, Master's Death Card, and Astro Harness. That's what I do. I pair him with Hawkgirl Prime and Batgirl Prime, but you'll see in my MP video. For now, I'm just kind of ranking them. I'm just giving my reasoning for putting him, say, above the rest of these guys. So yeah, honestly, I only put 21 cards in S tier here, and I think that was generous. I think maybe a couple of these towards the end could be moved to A tier. But this game has a surprisingly even spread. I was very surprised myself to add the average card in upper B tier. That's like very mid. That's honestly quite impressive. So the devs did a really good job balancing this game and giving each card kind of its own ability to thrive in a certain environment, like when you're early game versus mid game versus now playing efficiently. So moving on, we next have Red Sun Wonder Woman. She's a beast. The reason I ranked her so high, a lot of people don't know about her. She can be a special 1 carry that functions similar to Luchador Bane because Red Sun Batman gives her unblockables on special 1. And simultaneously, Red Sun Batman is one of the best supports in the game, if you don't know that. So because he has an unblockable special 1 that puts them in stun, you just start the match and you immediately stun any enemy, and then you tag in Red Sun Wonder Woman. She is if you damage augment her, very high damage special 1. It's a single hit. That's the ideal range. For a special 1, you want a single hit special 1 because they just don't do enough damage otherwise to really kill the entire enemy team. But yeah, her special 1 can insta put the entire enemy team to 1 health. She also benefits from Red Sun Green Lantern's passive, which makes her a far better carry than a lot of these guys because she's just more durable. She can be made immune to crit, immune to stun, so she actually wins against Arkham Knight Batgirl. So even if you face an Arkham Knight team, you still just tag her in and play exactly the same way because she won't die with Red Sun Green Lantern on her team. But yeah, Special 2, also incredibly quick startup. It can be combined with Tantu Totem MDC, so if you want to make her a Special 2 build, you're more than welcome to do that. I also have her highlighted in yellow because she can function as a carry or a support. And what I mean by that is that if you want to use like another Red Sun carry, say Red Sun Superman, you can just keep her Elite 0, and she has an insane power gen passive. I also need to mention, with the Tantu Totem and MDC, most of the other cards in this game don't immediately generate enough power to activate a Special 2. Because of her passive, she immediately generates enough power to use a Special 2. So that's just very powerful because you don't need the Demonic Cloak to get extra power. You don't need the Demon Blade. Demon Blade still helps, but you just don't need any extra power gen boost to immediately activate a Special 2. And she counters Killer Frostprime and Earth 2 Solomon Grundy teams as well. She is pretty much the most solid, like rock solid carry of all the ones above, excluding Arkham Knight Batman and Deadshot and Deathstroke. She's far more reliable, I think, than any of these 5 guys above her, 6 guys above her. But she still just needs someone to stun them, and requiring someone to stun takes a bit of time, takes like 4 seconds, and that's a bit of a drag. So because that's just mainly because of her low damage stat. But again, I mean, it'll still kill the enemy teammate. You just might not immediately get both the opponents to 1 health. Both of the opponent's teammates, at least. Okay, so moving on to Antimatter Sinestro. His passive carries him because it forces the enemy to tag out if they don't die. And the reason that's beneficial is because if you give him the Tanu Totem and the enemy has an Astro Harness equipped, you just use a special, and he has a very quick special one. I think it's Rapid Tap. I don't think it's Meter Fill. I think it's Rapid Tap. So it's very quick to activate, and it simultaneously, a single special one can wipe the entire enemy team if you use my formula. He becomes strong enough to literally wipe. You'll see in my multiplayer video. You'll see exactly what I mean. I have him at Elite X level 60. He has 66,300 damage and 110,000 health. So he's at about like 167,000 total stats. And you can also pair him, with the tag team teammates, like Hawkgirl Prime, Batgirl Prime. He succeeds best with them. But if you stun the enemy and tag him in and use a special one, it's over. He also has a powerful multi-hit special too. And if he doesn't kill with the special one, so against like a Red Sun team, he might not kill. He'll still force them to tag out. And he does enough team damage that the next special one you use will kill the next opponent. So he's very quick because of his tag out. Because of that forced tag out passive he has. He's a much quicker carry than, I'd say, the people below him. Moving on to Teen Titans Raven. She can function as a special 2 or a special 1 carry. Powerful, multi-hit, infinite range special 2. We love that. All of those features are favorable. It's I think 4 hit. No. Boom, 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 boom. It's a 5 hit special 2. It can kill 2 enemy opponents, I believe, and then the 3rd hit, because of her passive, it has like an extra hit after the special activates that drains 25% of the opponent's health, and it's dealt like any other damage, so it can KO. So she can actually kill an entire enemy team with a single special 2. It's very impressive. She can also be built as a special 1 carry with Cloak of Destiny, and by teaming her up with a Batman card to stun them before she tags in, or like Static Prime. She succeeds. She's one of the Femme Fatale. So I have my Femme Fatales ranked up here. They're all based on teams with 600 Wonder Woman, or really just all women team. Regime Wonder Woman is above her, but after that, she's the next best Femme Fatale carry. So you put her with 600 Wonder Woman and another female card, or Hawkgirl Prime or something like that, and she generates 2 bars of power immediately on tagging in with Tanu Totem and Master's Death card. And she has a guaranteed crit special 2 if you give her Demon Blade or Demonic Cloak. And her first hit will wipe many enemy cards, not all of them, but many enemy cards. It'll completely one-shot them, and that's just 1 hit of her special 2. So she's very powerful if you don't know, and her passive it's probably the most useful Raven passive, and I have Raven Prime ranked a little bit below her, mainly because of that last extra boost from her passive. So moving on, Arrow Green Arrow. Arrow Green Arrow has a very powerful 3-hit special 2. The first hit it actually multiplies the damage for the next 2 hits, which is unlike many other cards. Like most other cards don't do that double multiplier thing, but if you get 200% on his first hit of his special 2, you can then dramatically increase the damage of your first shot of the next part of your special 2. And he can bypass an Astro Harness entirely if he crits on a special 2. So he's just a menace. It's infinite range. Or it's not infinite range, but it functions with the Master's Death card and Tanu Totem. So like if you tag him in with those 2 equipped, you can always use a special 2 and have it connect. It doesn't ever miss. That crit, I have him at Elite X level 60, I believe. Yeah, his stats are pretty low. So you can actually Elite X level 60 him if you don't have the Alliance Joker card for health. And he's a menace. I also have him damage augmented. And he's just a very powerful card. But it's mainly his special 2. He's a special 2 carry. His special 1 having power drain isn't that useful. His passive really isn't that useful. It's mainly just the special 2 we like. That's 3 hit that can kill an opponent with a single hit, and that bypasses resurrects from like 4th World Set or like Blackest Night teams. It bypasses all of those. The only thing he really struggles against is Arkham Knight Batgirl, but because his first hit does enough to kill an opponent, it'll get refunded. Your power will get refunded from Tanu Totem. So he can immediately activate another special 2 when Arkham Knight Batgirl tags in, and he actually beats her. So he's a very powerful card. Gold card. Just a random store. You'll notice I have ranked like Wonder Woman. Regime Wonder Woman is a gold card from the store. And Red Sun Wonder Woman is in gold packs. And he is now the third one straight out of the store. You can just buy him for credits. And these cards were released very early on. I think he was released in like 2015, 2016. So he's kind of a later release. But he's more powerful than, I'd say, almost every. Yeah, he's a better card for carrying you in multiplayer than any metal card, outside of possibly over here in the supports like the Batman Who Laughs. He's just incredibly good at being efficient. So moving on, New 52 Superman, powerful 3-hit, infinite range, special 2. That's basically all there needs to say about him. It's also infinite range, so if you give him Master's Death card, Tando Totem, tag him in, use a special 2, it's going to connect every time. And if you crit augment him, it'll one-shot. He only struggles against Red Sun teams, and also, yeah, the two Arkham Knight Batgirl and Batman Ninja Catwoman. Those two resurrect abilities will slow him down. But he's a very efficient card. Benefits from New 52 Shazam passive. Benefits greatly from having power gen increase. One of the fastest cards in the game. One of the fastest special 2 carries. Moving on, Suicide Squad Deadshot. I'm going to start moving through these quicker because it's more or less the same from here on out. Unless they have a specific passive, these guys are all just very good special 2 carries. Or special 1 in the case of Shazam and Solomon Grundy. But yeah, Suicide Squad Deadshot, he can achieve 250% on his specials, which is an insane multiplier increase on top of 250% crit damage increase. So he can one-shot with a single hit of his special 2. He also kills he can kill 3 opponents with his special 2. It has, not infinite range, but it benefits from the Master's Death card on tag-in, so you can tag him in and use it immediately. And it's a very quick special 2. Quick startup, quick end lag, quick use. You know, those are the most efficient things. Not lagging, just being quick and being able to use it and then use another one. Those are the best things for multiplayer efficiency, for running through these ladders as fast as possible. All right, yeah, enough said about that, I think. He also benefits from Batman Ninja Lord Joker, from having that increased team AoE damage. So you give him League of Assassins Knives, or you give him the Fourth World Mace, and he's a menace. He can kill the entire enemy team with a single special 2, or a single special 1 will get everyone down to 1 HP. Moving on, Raven Prime. Her passive makes her a better tank, or a better, like, you can use her as either. Obviously, I have her highlighted in yellow, but as a carry, her passive helps her tank damage if, like, you get surprised by an Arkham Knight Batgirl tag in, or you get surprised by a Batman Ninja Catwoman tagging in. You know, her passive will keep her alive. She has a powerful 4-hit infinite range special 2, so that benefits greatly from Tando Totem and Master's Death card. She can also be built as a special 1 carry. She has good stats. I think you get her. Right now, I have her at least 7. I still need to break through her for her, as I have only broken through, I think, Team Titans Raven. But yeah, I think you can get her to Elite 9 or Elite 10 if you don't have the Alliance Health card support cards purchased on your account. So yeah, I started a new account like a few years ago, and it was the best decision ever because that's how I was able to build my ideal teams. I've crit augmented every one of these cards in S tier. It's been more than a few years. I probably started this team in like 2019, 2018, and they're this account, but I have not augmented Rebirth Jessica Cruz. I have on my primary account, but not on this account. But everyone else I've augmented, and they're all so crazy efficient. But yeah, Raven, that's why I'm like speaking from experience, really. But Raven Prime is a great carry. And yeah, on to the next one. Earth 2 Solomon Grundy, he benefits from the Earth 2 team, or Earth 2 the Flash passive. So if you tag him in, they will get stunned, and he has a chance to shatter their gear as well. Very useful part of his passive is shattering gear. You don't have to worry about Astro Harness as much because of his passive. Them also being stunned from Earth 2 Flash makes him a great Cloak of Destiny user. Makes him a great League of Assassins knife user. I use him as a special 1 carry, and he is very efficient at running through teams. I think the best team for him is Earth 2 the Flash and like Red Sun Batman to shatter gear. Red Sun Batman is, in my opinion, one of the best support cards. Also Flashpoint Batman if you want to shut off Resurrect. Just basically stun them, shut off their res, tag in Earth 2 Solomon Grundy, and use a special 1. It's over. It's powerful. It's 1 hit. He also has a multi-hit special 2. It's like 6 or 7 hits, so it's very spread out, but the damage still for each hit is pretty consistent. It's enough to get through many characters in a single hit, if not 2 hits. So yeah, he's a very good carry, and the next part of his passive too, shutting off the opponent's, like dampening the opponent's power generation, very useful. He prevents himself getting countered. Um, if the opponent tags in with like Tanu Totem and Master's Death card, they don't immediately get a free special 3 or special 2. So he'll save you some time. That's why I said he's better than these 4 guys, because of that power gen dampening part. He's just basically a killer frost for your team. Very useful as a carry. I have him at Elite X level 60, and I have his damage augmented. I have him at 118,000 health and 60,000 damage. So he's at 178,000 total stats, and that functions great. That puts my team power at 118k. So he's one of my best carries. Next up, Rebirth Jessica Cruz. I've augmented her on my other account. She has a multi-hit special 2. I'm sure you know about it. It's deadly. Even though it's multi-hit, it won't bypass Astro Harness. It still beats the 4th world set, so you'll bypass that res. It can be extended with Green Lantern teammates, but I don't think you should do that, because if the opponent blocks her special 2, that's the only issue with her. If the opponent that tags in blocks her special 2, it takes like a year. Her special 2 is one of the slower ones, so that's the only reason I'm not saying, oh, she's like one of the best cards in the game. Because it really does take a minute to use a special 2 and then use another one. There's also end lag on it, so you're vulnerable to being countered up. Like if the opponent tags in on your last hit after you KO an enemy, like you'll get countered. So she's a great basic damage user, but basic damage isn't really the most important thing for efficiency, so that doesn't really matter that much. It's more just her special 2 that has infinite range and instant startup. We love that. So she's a good Tanu Totem MDC user. And yeah, she has Green Lantern benefits. So she benefits from like New 52 Shazam's passive. I think she benefits from one of the other Green Lantern passives. I don't really know. Up next, Kondak Black Adam. Very good special 2 carry. He has a 3-hit special 2. The only issue is that the first hit is weaker than the next 2 hits. So sometimes you'll just trigger an Astro Harness barrier when you want to destroy the Astro Harness or just completely one-shot him. But he does kill 2 opponents with his special 2, which is nice. And they usually don't block the next second hit. Like, once he kills on the first hit or the second hit, they won't block the next hit. It's very useful. And he also has Power Drain. The Power Drain part of his passive doesn't really matter that much. We only really rank this card this high because he's a special 2 carry. He's just one of the better special 2 carries. I think if you give him Cloak of Destiny, Tanu Totem, and like something to make him always crit, so like Demon Blade or Demonic Cloak, then he'll always crit on his special 2, and with the Cloak of Destiny, it's enough damage to actually one-shot any opponent. So team him up with like AO Batman as a support card, and possibly like Hawkgirl Prime, and he will, 8-7 second matches always, maybe 5-second matches. Enchantress also is a great card for him. His special 2 is infinite range. It has a pretty quick startup and not much end lag. They can counter you sometimes if you're not quick enough to tag out or to use another special 2, but they usually don't. Usually you can bust off 3 of these things in a row if you need to. Up next, New 52 Shazam. He's my highest ranked metal card on the carry side. You can also use him as a support, obviously. Arthur Solomon Grundy as well, I didn't mention. You can use him as a support, keep him Elite 0, but he functions best as a carry in my opinion. That's how I have these cards really divided. I want to emphasize that. I'm not saying you have to use these cards as a carry, but in my opinion, all these cards function better as carries than they do as supports, and you don't need a ton of supports. You need a good ratio of carries to supports, but in reality you need enough carries to make enough functional teams. So I figured all these cards over here don't have stun gimmicks, don't have power drain gimmicks. Many of them just have powerful one-hit special 1s and powerful multi-hit special 2s. That's why I say they function best as carries. So New 52 Shazam, his special 1 is 1 hit, and he also has his signature gear piece that lets him do increased team damage from it. He can be combined with Cloak of Destiny and League of Assassins Knives and just one-shot an entire enemy team with a single special 1. I love using him that way. That's how I use him. You can also team him with Batman Who Laughs to apply Bleed, and his special 2 will kill multiple opponents if they're bleeding. Bleed lets you do that. Bleed is one of the most effective tactics in this game, and he benefits greatly from it. He's the first one who actually needs Bleed, I believe, to kill multiple opponents on the special 2. Yes, he is. So that's why he's honestly ranked at the bottom of S tier, because he's not really a special 2 carry unless you have Batman Who Laughs. But he's a great carry either way. His passive benefits so many people. He can also be used as a support card, either Elite 0 or Elite 3. If he's a support card, I think you need to put him Elite 3 because unfortunately you need to upgrade his black metal passive. For the other metals, you don't need to do that. I'll get to why. But for him, you definitely do want to put him Elite 3 if you use him as a support. He has so many features to his passive. But if you use him as a carry, his most beneficial feature is that he'll tag out when he gets low health, so he won't always just lose to Arkham Knight Batgirl, and he won't always just lose to like a Red Sun team. He has a lot of survivability is my point. Up next, we got Reverse Flash. He has team damage on his special 2. I need to speed things up. 40 minutes in and I haven't gotten through half of my carries. Reverse Flash does team damage on his special 2. It's infinite range. It's very quick startup. The opponent doesn't have much time to block when you use it. And yeah, you can give him 4th World Mace and he does even more AoE damage. He's one of the best area of effect damage dealers in the game for a special 2 because of his passive. He's after Arkham Knight to Arkham Knight. But yeah, his special 1 isn't that great. It's a 4-hit, so you can Shatter Gear with it, but you don't really need to. But the second part of his passive that allows him to cleanse any negative effects and regen his health and from taking a special, that's very useful because, again, he can just run into any Arkham Knight team with Arkham Knight Batgirl, and he doesn't have to be scared of dying and losing the match. His passive will protect him. Very useful S-tier card. If you crit augment him, that special 2 will wipe enemy teams. I'll show you in my videos. So, moving on to A tier in my carries. We have Rebirth Raven. Now, why am I saying that she's not S tier? So many people are saying, well, she's S tier. She has a very good special 2. But the reason I'm saying she's not S tier for efficiency purposes, is because she has meter fill. Notice the only card with meter fill on a special as their primary carry ability, that is to say. So like I'm going to use her for her special 2, and it's a meter fill. The only other one is Reverse Flash, who has meter fill on his special 2. All these other guys are either rapid tap or rapid swipe or target. Those are the best special 2 methods. Red Sun Wonder Woman also just simple tap is so fun to use and so quick. So Rebirth Raven on her special 2, even though it's a 4-hit, it's very powerful. I think you can use it with Tantu Totem and Master's Death Cart. If not, give her Cloak of Destiny and Ra's Scimitar, and have her tag him with 2 bars of power, and she can still wipe an enemy team with it. But it just takes a little bit longer because it has that meter fill, so you're adding time to your matches that you don't really need to. Her passive also doesn't really keep her alive any longer. You usually don't need to steal power from the opponent. It's useful, but if you're going to be giving her the Tantu Totem, then you're not going to be using it that often, realistically. So she kind of doesn't have a passive, which is why I think she's A tier. Moving on. You can also use her. I have her boxing. You'll notice all of these A tier, like 10 of them in a row, can be supports. I think they function equally well. And then even the rest of these down here function equally well as supports. Simultaneously, go and look at my supports. You'll notice all of them in A tier except for Red Lantern Hal Jordan, I think, function equally well as supports or carries. I just say they're better at supports than carries, given how long it takes to like crit augment a carry. Because all of these carries, I'm saying you should crit augment all of these cards. Everything in S tier, at least. They are very deserving of crit augments. They do the best with them. You get the most bang for your buck by augmenting these cards. You get a little bit less for augmenting the A if you want to use them as carries, but you can still do that and you'll still have a lot of results. Very fast battles, just often not as fast as the S tier carries. Supports, I don't think you need to augment because, yeah, you keep them Elite 0, and that's the benefit of them. You don't have to waste time collecting resources to make them stronger cards. And there's 81 supports in my opinion, but give or take, all of these cards can function as either or. But yeah, so that's kind of how things are going to be broken down. All of these cards, if you want to use them as supports, you can. They have decent passives that allow them to function as such. Arkham Knight Catwoman, she has a great multi-hit special 2. She can be used as a special 2 carry, but because it's multi-hit, it's like 6 hits, you sometimes won't bypass Astro Harness, which is kind of annoying. Her passive doing, increased bleed damage for each Arkham Knight character on your team is very powerful. but she's just not as good of a carry, I think, as Rebirth Raven is. I think she has 6 hits on her special 2. Rebirth Raven has 4, which makes Rebirth Raven better. But her special 2 is also quicker than Rebirth Raven. So, you can use each one of them effectively. Yeah, I like to give her Tanu Totem and MDC. I don't have her crit augmented on this new account that I made, but on my old account I do. And I've had a lot of fun with her at Elite 9 level 50. Yeah, I think that's where I have her. And if I could damage augment her, I would. I just don't have the augments for it. Moving on, Arkham Killer Croc. Great special 1 carry. Even though it is 2 hits, the first hit is weak and the second hit is very strong. So if they're stunned, they take mad damage and mad like AoE damage with the League of Assassins knives. He's one of the best League of Assassins knives users. After, of course, Luchador Bane, Regime Wonder Woman, Red Sun Wonder Woman, and Antimatter Sinestro. And also Shazam. I think he's the next best League of Assassins knives user. But yeah, he also has a powerful multi-hit special 2 if you want to use him as a special 2 carry. I just think he best functions as a special 1 carry. He can be teamed with Arkham Knight Batgirl for the survivability aspect, so he's a very effective carry in terms of reliability. And he also has access to the Arkham, same for Arkham Knight Catwoman. They have access to Arkham Harley Quinn's passive, which means they have unblockable special 2s. Very in my opinion, the best feature you can have as a carry is the ability to be unblockable. So he's up there in rank. Moving on, we have Blackest Night Doomsday, simultaneously, or the same as Killer Croc. He has a very powerful special 1, multi-hit special 2. His passive hit, I think his special 2 can be combined with Tantu NBC if you want to use him that way. But his passive, his specials build up damage over time. So that is wonderful. And yeah, it'll help you finish up battles, especially if you have him crit and damage augmented, and you pair him with like an Elite 0 Batman to make his special 1 unblockable. If you want to do that, that's viable, very strategy you can do. He also benefits from having the survivability of Blackest Night Hawkgirl. That's basically it for him. That's why I think he's a little bit below Arkham Killer Croc, because Arkham Killer Croc has a 2-hit special 1 that gets around 4th world set. So say an enemy with the 4th world set tags in with low health, his special 1 will bypass it and then kill the opponent. Versus Blackest Night Doomsdays, whose special 1 is just a single hit that doesn't bypass 4th world set. Injustice 2 Aquaman. Very nice passive, again, that's all just about his survivability. It turns the dots that are on him, it transfers them to the opponent and triples the damage. So that's very fun. Very powerful, but really he's just ranked so high because he has a powerful 4-hit special 2. It's quick. It's a quick startup. It's quick end lag, so you can just use multiple in a row. And he benefits from New 52 Shazam's passive. He also has bleed on his special 1, so if you apply a bleed and then use a special 2, you just deal more damage. I think that's a good way to get around Astro Harness, is to just apply bleed, and he can apply it himself. Moving on, and Amkami Catwoman. Powerful 3-hit special 2 that can be used with Tanu Totem and Master's Death card. It kills 2 opponents, so you use it twice, you can finish a battle. Very useful special 2 carry. If you don't know, that she is a good card. A lot of people crap on her, but she is a good card. I don't think she's as good of a special 2 carry as any of the carries above her, but she might be better than Injustice 2 Aquaman. That's a debate to be had, and she may be better than Arkham Knight Catwoman even. She might fall in between here if you want to put her there, because she just has a 3-hit special 2. She just won't get around like Injustice 2 Superman. If he has the 4th world set on, you're not going to kill him. You have to do 2 tag-ins, and that's something you don't really want. She's like a weaker form of Blackest Night Batman, if you will. But she can use Tanu Totem and Master's Death card to tag in. So in some ways, she's better even than Blackest Night Batman. But she just doesn't have any secondary features, so that's why I put her in A tier where she is. Man of Steel Superman, powerful 1-hit. He's like a weaker Ares. He's basically the nerfed Ares Prime, even though he has a 30% chance of using no power on a special. Tanu Totem kind of made his passive a little bit redundant, but it is still useful if you're facing like a Nightwing, enemy Batman Ninja Nightwing, who drains your power. That'll protect you. And also, if you don't want to give him Tanu Totem and use him as like an Elite 3 kind of like support, he can finish up matches pretty quickly. But in terms of like efficiency, yeah, if you crit augment him, put him Elite 9, his single hit special 2 with the Cloak of Destiny and Fourth World Mace will wipe an enemy team. And it's very quick. The only problem is it doesn't have much range, so you have to be careful. I don't know if he can use the Master's Death Card tagging combo with his special 2, but I did some testing. I think he can. It has a small range, so sometimes it might miss. It's a little bit unreliable. Going to Regime Hot Girl. She is a great carry and a great support card as well if you want to use her that way with like a tagging team, because she shuts down enemy specials. You can use her as a support, but as a carry, she always crits because 300% is not hard to earn on her special 2, so she basically always crits on her special 2. She's countered by like Red Sun teams and Arkham Knight back row teams, obviously, but she has a strong always critting special 2, and that always crit feature is useful because you can give her more like splash damage and reliably crit. So like you can give her Fourth World Mace, Cloak of Destiny, and Tanu Totem, and because she's always critting, you don't have to worry that there's just no risk. You always do a billion damage to the enemy team. So yeah, she's very useful. Her passive also protects her as a carry, just not that well because 5 seconds isn't too long. You can still be countered, but it will stop enemies from surprising you. So very useful card. There's just a bug with her that sometimes happens too. I can't remember what causes it, but it'll crash your game sometimes. So don't do whatever causes the bug. But yeah, she's a very useful A tier, maybe even S tier. You could make the argument that because she always crits, she can be combined with certain gear that other characters just can't. I just don't like that she gets countered by Red Sun like that. Moving on, New 52 Wonder Woman. When she uses her specials, it generates power for her teammates. Not that useful, but she does have a powerful 5-hit special 2 that can be combined with the Master's Death Card tag in. So it connects every time. That's a useful feature. And yeah, she can also be a special 1 carry. Because she generates power when she uses a special, she's a good support card as well. That's why she's outlined in yellow. She can shatter gear very well with her special 1 and generate power for your carry if you want to use her that way. As a special 2 carry, though, which is how I think she should be used, yeah, she's powerful. It's multi-hit. Not much more to say about that. Moving on, Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman also has a very powerful special 1 and special 2. Her passive just kind of helps her stay alive a little bit longer with the health regen on special damage, so that's nice. But yeah, her special 2 can still carry you, even though it has like a dot effect. It's still powerful. It's like 3 hits, so it's a good damage spread. And she's a very effective special 1 or special 2 carry, depending on how you want to use her. Up next, I have Bane Prime. His special 2 is very much similar to Regime Wonder Woman's. He just can't use... No, he also can. He can use Master's Death Card on tagging. So he's powerful. His just stats are low, so you have to damage augment him and you have to health augment him to get him to the point where you can use him in this range. Like to get into 170k stats. I don't even know if you can. I haven't tried, but I just know that his special works with that Master's Death Card Tanu Totem. If you crit augment him, he is a very efficient... He's basically just Regime Wonder Woman without her passive. Her shield passive helps her be a little bit better than him. Puts her in a tier higher, honestly. And the fact that her special 2 has a little bit longer range than him. But they're both quick to activate. They're both 2-hit. And they both, each hit from his special 2 will kill an opponent if you Elite X60 him and combine him with Elite 0 supports. So, you know, he was one of the first cards released in this game. I think he was with the original release update. So... he's just powerful. I mean, it's crazy that those cards released so early still compared to cards like New 52 Superman, still compared to cards like Rebirth Green Arrow, to Injustice 2 Superman. Like, I say he's better as a special carry for efficiency than Injustice 2 Superman is. Obviously, people are going to have their gripes, and I'll get to why Superman is not that good of a special 2 carry. But, like, I'm just saying, he has a very good... Bane Prime has a very good special 2. There's no reason people need to rank him that low when his special 2 can completely kill 2 enemy teammates if it's left unblocked. And because of the Master's Death Card, the first one will always be unblocked. So, very useful. Just the most excellent damage spread. And you can also be a special 1 carry if you want to build him that way. He does have a Bane special 1. His passive isn't that useful, but it might help you finish up a match sometimes. Yeah, his only weakness is that he struggles against like Arkham Knight back row teams, and he struggles against Red Sun teams when he does that low damage and has that low health. Moving on, Rebirth Green Arrow. So the only reason I have him ranked so low, some of you were like, what? He does insane basic damage. Basic damage isn't the best for being a carry. You don't want to rely on basic damage if you don't have to, because you can't get around Astro Harness with basic damage. So, looking only at his specials, his special 1 is kind of mid. You can shatter multiple gear with it if you want, but as a carry, his special 2 is what we're all about. His passive is also mid. It doesn't really matter for us, but if you tag him in and the opponent is stunned, his special, like, the first hit of his special 1 or of his special 2 will completely wipe the enemy team of all their health. The only problem is he needs, I believe, bleed to get around the 4th world set. If the opponent has the 4th world set, they'll still be alive after he uses a special 2 because it doesn't kill multiple opponents without bleed. So he needs bleed to be applied. And if you have to apply bleed, you can't apply stun, you know. So if you apply bleed with him, you can use Master's. I think you can use Master's Death Cart to tag in with him, but it's the fact that the first hit still won't completely kill the opponent. I don't think it bypasses, or it doesn't kill multiple opponents, so you can like bypass the Astral Harness, but you don't kill the next opponent, and you have to use 3 special 2s, which is kind of a drag. I don't want to have to use 3 special 2s every time to finish a match. I'd much rather use 2 special 2s, which I can do with most of the other carries above him, and finish a match. So in that sense, I say he's worse than all the other characters. And the special 2 does take a bit of time, not to start up, but the end lag on it. After he fires those 3 shots, it's like a second before you can use another one. So that's kind of annoying. But still, that special 2 he has is very powerful. Very good Tanu Totem user. Benefits from stun, benefits from bleed. Not many good team pairings. I mean, you can put him on other Rebirth teams, but if he's your carry, he doesn't benefit much from those teams. So, you know, I think he's A tier definitely, but is he at the top of A tier? Maybe not. Moving on, Earth 2 Hawk Girl. I think she's honestly the only way you can use her is as a carry. She doesn't really function well as a support because she has no support passes for the Earth 2 team. That being said, I don't think she's the best carry in the game because her special 2 is like 4 hits, and it's weird with the Master's Death Card. I think the first hit is like close range or something. It doesn't have infinite range on the startup, which is annoying. But yeah, she has that insane damage boost, I'm pretty sure. Let me read out her actual passive. I don't even have her promoted because I just don't want to use her as a carry. I have all these other carries above her that I can use before her, so I don't even have her promoted yet. But her passive is each special and combo under has a 30% chance to stun an opponent. Like, that's fine. 30% chance isn't that reliable, though, so, you know, not really useful. Hawk Girl deals 100% more damage against stunned opponents. That's very useful. An additional 25% for each Earth 2 teammate. So, yeah, if you stun them, tag her in, use the special 2, it'll probably one-hit the first opponent, but it's not reliable. Like, against Injustice 2 Superman, I don't even think with a crit it'll one-hit him if he's, like, Elite 7, and she's also Elite 7. So, she is good, but she needs stun, and yeah, I think the other cards above her are just better. I think they're better at finishing up battles with their special 2s as far as, because she's, again, just a pure special 2 carry. No other abilities that make her, you know, S tier like all these guys are. No special 1 carry. So, yeah. Moving on, Animated Batman Beyond. Any Batman card can be a support card. Why? Because they shatter multiple gear. Well, any Batman card that's not Animated Batman Beyond, that is. Animated Batman Beyond, his special 1 is only a single Batarang. It still shatters gear and stuns, so he can still be a support card. But all of the other Batman have multiple Batarangs in their special 1s, including Blackest Night Batman. So they all function better as supports than he does, but he still can function as a support. As a carry, though, his passive doesn't really matter. It's more just about his special 2. It's infinite range. It can be combined with Master's Death Cart and Tanu Totem. And it's 3 hits. He's basically Amkami Catwoman. Just gold card. He looks sick as fuck. He looks really cool. Got that going for him. But yeah, that's basically it. Use him as a special 2 carry. That's his best way to be used. You can finish up most battles in like 8 to 20 seconds. He can kill multiple opponents with it. So yeah, all those features. Green Lantern Sinestro is basically the same exact thing as Antimatter Sinestro, except he doesn't force them to tag out. so he can't deal with the Astro Harness as well as Antimatter Sinestro can. However, if you stun the opponent and tag him in, use a special 1 or a special 2, it's over. He's a great carry for specials, and he takes less damage from Green Lanterns, so that's, it helps his survivability. The reason I say Yellow Lantern Hal Jordan is below him, because Yellow Lantern Hal Jordan cannot kill multiple opponents with a special 2, and his special 1 is not full damage because I think it's bleed. So you can use him as a support because it has bleed, but his special 2, as a special 2 carry, he needs bleed to kill multiple opponents. So that's kind of annoying that you have to apply bleed every single time to use him. So yeah, but he's still powerful. It's still a 3-hit special 2 with equal damage division, so that's very nice. And that's why I think he's above Injustice 2 Superman. Because even though Injustice 2 Superman does kill multiple opponents with a special 2, I think he can kill 3 opponents without bleed, the first hit is half as strong as the next 2 hits. The first hit is usually, even with crit, not enough to kill most enemy opponents and bypass Astro Harness. So his biggest contender is Astro Harness. And I think he's worse than Yellow Lantern Hal Jordan because the damage spread is so unfavorable for it. It's like the first hit is half as strong as the next 2 hits. It's just not ideal for his special 2. However, he does have a lot of survivability because of his passive. Being invincible to the first enemy special that tags in against you is very nice. You just never have to worry about losing to Arkham Knight back roll, and you never have to worry about losing to, like, really just any tag, like Batman, Ninja, Catwoman. So, yeah, he's a useful card. Next, we got Red Sun Superman. Can also be a support card. Functions best, I think, is a special 2 carry. I think it's the 3-hit special 2 and has infinite range. And it's very quick startup. No, it doesn't have infinite range, but it's very quick startup. So you can tag him in with Master's Death Cart and use it, and it connects every time. It's nice. And I think he kills 2 opponents with it. So that's not bad. He gets around 4th world set. A single hit from it will bypass most Astro Harness barriers. He can also be teamed with other Red Sun teammates, but I think he functions good as support on Red Sun teams. I think Red Sun Wonder Woman is just that much better than him as a carry that it ranks him lower. Red Sun Wonder Woman just is the best special carry for the Red Sun team. But yeah, he has that good damage spread, so he's a useful carry as well, A tier. Up next, Batman Ninja Catwoman. She is the only basic damage carry that I would recommend you use for basic damage. Her specials take too long to use to be special carries, and their damage spread on them isn't favorable. She has like a 4-hit special 2 that is most powerful on the last hit, so that's very not ideal. She also doesn't kill multiple opponents unless they're bleeding, so again, very not ideal. But her basics, if you put her Elite 6, so she'll have around 160,000 total stats, and then you give her basic damage gear, and then team her up on a team with like 600 Wonder Woman and Batman Prime. Her single heavy swipe can kill most opponents. It'll almost always bypass Astro Harness, which is insane. Insane. If it doesn't bypass it, you just wait 5 seconds and then heavy swipe again. So she is the best basic damage dealer and the best damage carry. She drains all your opponent's powers. You just never have to worry about them using specials unless you get caught by surprise by LexCorp. LexCorp set will kind of screw you sometimes if they block your basic damage and then they immediately use a special 3 on you. But she can be teamed with Batman Ninja Nightwing, so that's not a problem. She is... The only reason she's ranked this high as a basic damage carry is because she deals so much with a single heavy swipe. But the reason, I know a lot of you are like, oh, what? She's one of the best cards in the game. Her passive, draining opponents' power is crazy. It's crazy. But it doesn't help you finish multiplayer battles quicker. It really just helps protect you. So all she really has going for her is basic damage. But if you don't have any of the Alliance health cards, you can put her Elite 6 and she can still function on a team with less than 120,000 power. And that's where she thrives. I'll eventually, when I make my multiplayer video coming out here in a few weeks, you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't have her augmented on this account. I have her augmented on my other account where she's Elite 7. So unfortunately, we won't really see the absolute true power, but you'll see the potential because it's easy to see, 2.5 times whatever much damage she's doing on a single hit. Like, that's what she's going to end up doing with crit. Anyways, moving on. Next, I have Metal the Merciless. His passive of generating armor is just for durability, helps him survive a little bit longer. Main part of his passive that we like is the unblockables. If you tag in with Master's Death Cart and do a single basic tap combo, or just a single basic tap few hits, you'll have an unblockable special 2. So that's very nice. However, the damage spread on his special 2 is not favorable, and the fact that he needs bleed, I believe, to kill multiple opponents. Even if he doesn't need it, it's still 4 hits, and it's slow. It's a slow, like, you have multiple meters you have to fill or something like that. So it's a little bit slower than some of the other special 2 carries, but he's still very reliable, very powerful, but he can't block enemy attacks, so sometimes you will get caught off guard if, like, you're not ready to rapid block. I know he can block enemy attacks, but he usually glitches and drops his block because of that weird thing that he does. So, yeah, he's a good carry. He's worth augmenting, but I don't think he's the best one worth augmenting. That's really what A tier is. You can augment all of these cards and still run through online battles, but if you augment the cards in S tier, you're going to have a better time. Moving on, AO Bane. AO Bane! He benefits from Arkham Harley Quinn passive of unblockable special 2, so he has a multi-hit special 2 that's unblockable. Very nice. Honestly, you could put him higher tier. I might even put him S tier in some circumstances, but there are just better special 2 carries. I think all these guys in S tier, like, he has like 6 hits on his special 2, so a single hit won't usually get past the Astro Harness, and the second part of his passive is only really useful for him, and only if you get below 50% of your health, which doesn't happen often when you're speedrunning. Can be a special 1 carry. Best built, though, for a special 2 carry. But yeah, he can't really shatter multiple gear, so if you want to use him as a support card, you can. Just Elite 0 and have him take damage, and then he helps your carry generate power. Kind of like Batgirl Prime, but just, like, nerfed. Moving on, Shazam Prime, special 1 carry, augment him in damage and crit chance percent. Give him League of Assassins Knives, give him the Cloak of Destiny. Just as good as a special 1 carry, honestly, as New 52 Shazam is. He just doesn't have the rest of New 52 Shazam's passive. That's why he's ranked a little bit lower. Also, his special 2 isn't as good because New 52 Shazam has an infinite range special 2, whereas I think Shazam Prime does not. Shazam Prime has a range that a special 2 hits at, so you can use him with Master's Death Cart to tag in, like, that's reliable, but when the next opponent tags in, I think they have to be close for it to connect, so it's kind of annoying that you're missing hits sometimes as a special 2 carry with the Batman Who Laughs. Doomsday Prime, gold card, powerful 1-hit special 2, his passive just helps him stay alive longer, but he's basically Ares Prime but nerfed. I think Man of Steel Superman is a little bit better than him, because of his passive. That's truly it. But Doomsday Prime, also, it's like equally quick to start up. No, that's what it is. Man of Steel Superman has a quicker special 2 activation. Doomsday Prime has a meter fill activation on his special 2. And that takes a little bit longer than you'd like. I don't like having to do 3 meter fills to finish a single match when they don't even have 4th world set. If they have 4th world set, you have to tag him in and out again because he doesn't get past it. So, he's A tier, but he's towards the bottom of A tier. I think Godfall Superman is a little bit worse than him, but some people can use Cloak of Destiny. Like, I think if you use Cloak of Destiny and you fully crit augmented him, he can deal enough team damage with the 4th World Mace to actually be a reliable special 2 counter, or special 2 carry. The special 1 isn't that reliable as a carry. It's just not that powerful. But his special 2 is pretty good. Blocking, his passive just helps him, tank more damage, so he's a good carry for that reason. But yeah, his special 2 is like 3 hits, and it has, I think, an infinite range startup, or it combines with Master's Death Cart, so he's still reliable. Blackest Night Martian Manhunter can be teamed with other Blackest Night teammates. That includes Blackest Night Batman. That includes Blackest Night Superman, so he's very reliable. He's immune to unblockables if you team him with Batman, or with Superman. And he doesn't really do well with Blackest Night Batman, but you can. I'm sorry, he does do well with Blackest Night Batman because unblockable on his special 2 is insane. It's still 5 hits, and the first 3 hits are weak. So the damage breakdown is kind of annoying, but it kills multiple opponents. So he's useful if you want to damage augment him and crit augment him and use him as a Tantu Totem carry for special 2s. He can also be a support. I've outlined him in yellow as a support because of his defensive barrier. That also helps his survivability. Even as a carry, that helps his survivability. But yeah, you can use him as a support if you want on Blackest Night teams. AO the Joker. So he has the poison gas, and the damage from his poison gas multiplies with every arc. He's basically Arkham Knight Catwoman, except his special 2 is a little bit less reliable for wiping enemy teams. He can be used as a special 1 carry if you want. But yeah, that dot it goes crazy. Dot is usually not the most effective way of winning battles, and dot can also sometimes backfire against Blackest Night the Flash teams. So you got to be careful with him. But he is a special 2 carry, so he can combine with Arkham Harley Quinn and have an unblockable special 2. It's multi-hit, but it's powerful. It'll kill an enemy. It kills multiple enemies, so that's nice. A tier. Apocalypse Darkseid is my last of the A tier, and I honestly consider putting him in B tier, but he does have team damage on his special 2, and he does have a quick 1-hit powerful special 1. It's not 1 hit, it's like 3 hits, but the damage spread on it is favorable. It's 2 weak hits followed by a very powerful hit, and it's quick. It's just a simple target tap. So he can be a very good League of Assassins Knives user, and his passive too allows him to apply bleed sometimes, so that's nice. And he can make it so that the opponent always takes crit damage, so that's nice. Yeah, bottom of A tier. You can use him as a special 1 or special 2 carry. Up next, finally, to B tier, we have Lobo Prime. Lobo Prime can be augmented in damage. He can have like Elite 9. Elite 9, you give him high damage stat. He'll function very well in those 170k range. He has a multi-hit special 2. It can be combined with Tantu Totem and MDC. He's immune to power drain, so like that is a nice feature, but I don't think he's a faster carry than anyone in A tier or anyone in S tier. I think he takes a little bit more time to sweep battles than Apocalypse Darkseid does fully augmented. Which I do have Apocalypse Darkseid fully augmented. I have him at Elite 9 right now and like around 150k total stats. I may augment him to 170, but I might just also promote him to Elite 10. But Lobo Prime, yeah, I think he's a little bit slower because of the damage spread on his special 2 and his reliance on bleed on special 2. Back in, get focused on her. Suicide Squad Harley Quinn, B tier carry. She can be a special 1 carry. She has a very strong special 1, even though it's 3 hit. It'll still wipe a single. It'll completely kill a single enemy opponent, and it'll do a lot of team damage. She's not the best special 2 carry. Because she has that nerf. Yeah, it has the nerf damage because it's unblockable. But if you put, what is the rest of her passive? If you put like Suicide Squad the Joker on her team, it turns into C4 instead of Dynamite. So it becomes stronger. She gets a stronger special 2. Yeah, it turns to C4. So she has a decent special 2. It just takes a while to start up, so she's better as a special 1 carry, and I think she functions well as a special 1 carry. She can also function, I think, maybe as a support, but probably not. I wouldn't use her that way. She's built to be the carry of the Suicide Squad team. So up next, we got Regime Raven. She's basically the Raven without a passive. She also doesn't have an infinite range special 2, so that's kind of annoying, and it's multi-hit same as the other ones, but it has meter fill. So similar to Rebirth Raven, she has meter fill, which is very slow. It's a lot slower than rapid tap or rapid swipe or anything like that, but she can still use Master's Death Cart Tantu Totem combination, tag in, wipe the enemy team. So she's useful. Superman Prime in B tier, powerful single hit special 2. It can also freeze the enemy. Not really that useful unless they have 4th world set, but if you give him Necron Scythe, he'll finish them up even if they have 4th world set. But yeah, if you give him special 2 like carry gear, like the 4th world maze, Cloak of Destiny, and Tantu Totem, combine him with like Batgirl Prime and someone who can stun the enemy, like AO Batman or Red Sun Batman, he'll be a good special 2 carry, single hit, basically a cheaper version of Ares Prime, because it doesn't have unblockable, but still powerful. Still useful if you want to damage augment, crit augment him. Like, he will be a good carry for you. Not really the worst card in the world, to crit augment. Martian Manhunter Prime. So, His special 2, I think, is similar to Blackest Night Martian Manhunters. He just doesn't have any of the Blackest Night passive, so he can't make it unblockable if you want to do that. And he also has a passive that just isn't that useful. Like, sometimes you stun them, that's nice, but that's about it. So he's really just only a special 2 carry. He has a single hit special 1, but it's weak and it has weird range, so you can't combine it with anything. But you can use him as a special 1 carry. It's slow, but you can. I'd use him as a special 2 carry if I was to augment him. Moving on, Zod Prime. He has a powerful single hit special 1, but it doesn't, I don't think, combine with Master's Death card, or it has a range limit on it. So even though it's a single hit, sometimes you'll miss. But he's like a cheap version of Ares Prime, or a cheap version of Doomsday, because his passive doesn't really do much. So like Doomsday at least has a passive that heals him. Zod Prime, his passive is, let's see, something stupid. For every teammate that's knocked out, he receives 20% bonus to all damage. Yeah, you're not really losing teammates that much when you're speedrunning, so pretty much a useless passive. But he has a very powerful special 2, and he has a powerful special 1 as well. So you can build him as a special 1 or a special 2 carry. With crit augments, he's definitely an Elite X level 60, obviously, because he's a gold store-bought card. He'll do decent. Regime Superman, even though his special 2 is unblockable, that decreased damage nerf really is annoying. So, on the right team, Elite 9, level 50, with teammates who don't have much stats, like, you'll get that ideal team power. And his special 2 will probably kill every opponent you face except for, like, I2 Superman. It won't kill in one shot. So he's useful, and it's nice not having to worry about the opponent blocking, but you need it to crit to kill, and it doesn't crit if they block. So what's the point? Yeah, that's why I put him B tier. It is a single hit, though. He's fun to use. He looks cool. But yeah, he's, I think, worse than Prime Superman, at least. Teen Titans Cyborg. 3 hit special 2 that's pretty powerful, but the damage spread isn't favorable. It's 2 weak hits followed by a strong hit. And I don't think he can combine with Master's Death card. I could be wrong, though. He might combine with it. But there's better special 2 carries. His passive has nothing going for him. His basic attacks suck. And his specials, even though his special 2 is kind of strong, the damage spread is not as favorable as you'd like it. So there are better cards, but he still can carry as a special carry. And his special 1 stuns, so there is that. If you want to use him as a support card, he can function as a support card. Metahuman the Flash, he's a basic damage kind of carry, but really he's a special 1 carry. So you give him League of Assassins knives, have them stunned, have him tag in, and he will wipe a team with a special 1. His passive will then activate, and the problem with his passive is that sometimes it's actually worse than his regular basic attacks. So, grand scheme of things, it's kind of just another flash card. You don't really worry about his passive because it's broken. Yeah, he can be a good special 1 carry. His special 2 is pretty powerful, but it's multiple hits, and yeah, Astro Harness beats it. So Lobo, you can also use him, as a support card if you want to shatter gear, because he has a multi-hit special 1. He can shatter multiple gear on it. That's nice. Lobo Bounty Hunter, he has the bleed on his special 2 that kind of detracts from the damage. You don't want to rely on bleed. However, he has a strong special 1. Both Lobos have a strong special 1. They can be special 1 carries. Even though it's 2 hits, it's still a good damage spread. He can also be a special 2 carry. He can kill multiple opponents with his special 2. It's just that it has bleed, so that's unfortunate. Or it has burning, so like burning isn't that useful. And his passive is also completely useless. Let's see, what is that passive? I'll read it out for you. Hooked. When Lobo performs a special 2, the enemy cannot tag out until Fire Dot runs its course. Useless for speedrunning. Every successful special 2 makes the next special 2 damage go up, and dot length go up by 20%. That's kind of useful, but if you can't kill the first opponent, it's useless. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so moving on, we're going to talk about the C tier now of the carries. Containment Doomsday, you can obviously use him as a support at Elite 0. He makes for a good tank because he gets resurrected 3 times, so he just basically won't die. But he also has a multi-hit special 2 and a powerful special 1. If you damage augment him, he's a good carry. He's C tier, but he has a multi-hit special 2 that can kill multiple opponents. So in that sense, he's good. He gets beaten by Astro Harness, he gets beaten by the usual things. Raven Prime. No, she won't beat him. He'll stay alive. Like, Honestly, he may even be B tier because he beats like Arkham Knight Batgirl. She won't tag in and just wipe him because he has 3 resurrects. Um, so he's kind of useful as a carry. I really think you can put him Elite X because his stats are so low, and damage augment him and health augment him, and put him max, crit augment. If you like this card, you will have a good time in online mode. Even though I say he's C tier, he still succeeds. Man of Steel General Zod. Jesus Christ, I think he just takes less damage, right, from specials. Yeah, 20% less damage from specials as his passive, so that's useless. It helps his survivability, but that's about it. But his special 2 is close range only because it's fucking melee for some reason. And he also, I don't think, can combine with the Master's Death card, so he doesn't have the favorable interaction with Master's Death card where you can tag in and immediately use it. So you can't cheese people. And for that reason, he is still a good special 1 carry because he's a Zod card. He has Kryptonian Rifle, so you can use him that way. But it's still slow. Yeah, he's a slow carry. That's all there really is to it. Prison Superman, his passive will help his durability, but that's about it. Like regenerating health, who cares? But he does have a 2-hit special 2. Granted, it can't kill multiple opponents, so that's why he's in C tier, whereas Bane is in A tier. That's really the only difference between the two of them, is that Bane's special 2 can kill 2 opponents, whereas Superman's special 2 cannot kill 2 opponents. It'll get stuck against Fourth World Set. It'll get stuck against Astro Harness. So yeah, that's why Prison Superman is so far below Bane Prime. Moving on. But Prison Superman does look sick as fuck. You can also use him as a support card to shatter gear if you want. But yeah, I think he functions best as a carry at Elite X level 60 because his stats are low as well. Boss Solomon Grundy, we have at the bottom of C tier. Strong 1-hit special 1, but he's kind of best as a basic damage or a special 2 carry. But yeah, you can also use him as a special 1 carry if you stun the opponent. Same kind of setup as Earth 2 Solomon Grundy, except he has none of Earth 2 Solomon Grundy's Earth 2 benefits or Earth 2 Solomon Grundy's passive. So that's why he's ranked so much lower. His passive, like doing more damage as you take less health, that's not really that useful for speedrunning. And keep in mind that's why he's not at the top, because obviously Boss is the boss. He should be S tier. But the reason I'm not is because this is multiplayer efficiency. This is how fast can you finish a match with this card as your carry, and he's just a very slow carry. At the very bottom of the carries, we have we have Prime Darkseid. If you want to Elite X him, you can, like, fucking go ahead. Like, he has a special 1 that's pretty powerful. That's it. You're gonna have to use him as a special 1 carry. His special 2 is weird, slow, multi-hit. But you can use him as a support, just low stats, throw him in. He works well with bronze cards if you want to earn less than 5,000 BP. You can. But I don't like earning less than 5,000 BP, so this is purely using him as a special 1 carry. And yeah, I think he's the worst carry of these 63 carries. Going to our supports. Coming in, I don't know how long we, like an hour and a half or some shit. Finally getting to our supports. And this is where things get interesting. Because a lot of you are probably wondering, like, oh my god, he left so many cards out of the carries. Well, no, in Justice Mobile Community, I know that every single one of these cards in S tier for the supports, I say absolutely leave Elite Zero. No question in my mind, if you start a brand new account today, I'm telling you leave every single one of these cards in S tier at Elite Zero. The same holds true mostly for like A through F tier, but really important is to get all of these cards. Once you get a single copy, that's all you need. And I'll explain why. Starting out with Flashpoint Batman. Obviously, you want to fit into this. You want to fit at less than 120k team power. And the best way to do that is to have this build for every single one of your teams, where you use an Elite 8 to Elite 10 carry, and then combine them with 2 Elite 0 carries who have support passives that help you efficiently beat multiplayer mode. And what do I mean by that? What kind of passives are we talking about? Because I said there's 81 of those passives. Those are passives basically that speed up the game in any sort of way by either, like Batman, he shuts off resurrections. Batgirl gives power to all her teammates when the match starts. Hawkgirl lets you tag in more, which with the Tendu Totem and the Master's Death card is very, very effective. It prevents the opponent from tagging out as well. Arkham Harley Quinn gives unblockables, on her teammate specials. So things like that can improve your game time is basically how I rank these supports. And I believe that all of these supports should remain at Elite Zero. I think they're justified remaining at Elite Zero over being carries because of their support capabilities. So, Flashpoint Batman, let's start with him. His specials, he has two parts to his passive. We're looking mainly at passives for all these supports. So, I'm really going to talk about the passives of these cards. His specials shut off resurrections. So, you don't have to worry about Fourth World Set, and you don't have to worry about Astro barriers, and you don't have to, Astro health barriers, and you don't have to worry about anyone who has a resurrect like Blackest Night teams. He just completely counters all of them. Um, Furthermore, when he's on the Flashpoint team, if you want to include him, I think his best team is probably either the Flashpoint team or a tag team of some sort with one of these top 4 carries. Probably maybe one of these top 6. But on the Flashpoint team, if you keep him Elite 0, he grants 5 times crit damage to himself and his teammates. That passive is unheard of. There's no other damage boost that's powerful. That's that powerful for a passive. He can also crit past Red Sun Green Lantern, past that passive. So you counter pretty much every team in the game with him alone. But yeah, if you start him on your team with Raz Scimitar, so he starts with a bar of power, and also Claw of Horse because he can shatter multiple gears. He has that extended Batman special 1 that shatters multiple gears. He also stuns the enemy. So anyone I talked about over here who uses Cloak of Destiny, like Deathstroke, Batman, Bane, Arkham Knight, Regime Wonder Woman, Flashpoint Aquaman, Ares Prime, Red Sun Wonder Woman, Antimatter, all of these, basically all these S tiers, even most of these A tiers can use the Cloak of Destiny. And he stuns on his special 1 and shuts off resurrections. There's no point Elite 3ing him because that's just wasted stats. Him at Elite 3 has like him at Elite 0. Let me see what I have his stats at before I talk about Elite 3. Him at Elite 0, I think, has like 28,000 stats, 27,999 stats, whatever it is. He's right at 27, 28K. When you put him in Elite 3, it puts his stats at like 60, 70K. That's a huge difference. 0.3 of a 45,000 difference is a lot. It's a lot. So it severely weakens your ability to have a carry who's strong when you put him at Elite 3. Anyone suggesting you promote Flashpoint Batman is suggesting, I think they're suggesting bad things. I have him outlined in yellow because, like, if you want to use him at Elite 3 on the Flashpoint team, like, that's up to you. But I think he functions on so many different teams as a support because he shuts off resurrects and shatters multiple gear and stuns enemies. He just has so many different things going for him that he's the best support for many other teams as well as the Flashpoint team. Without a doubt, the Flashpoint team, he's the best support card for it. So yeah, I think he's the best support card in the game. I think if you keep him in Elite 0, you're going to do much better off in the long run. Moving on, Batgirl Prime. Starting everyone with a bar of power allows you to shatter gear very effectively. It also allows you to use different gears on your carries than you normally would. My recommendations for the best team almost always involve Batgirl Prime and Flashpoint Batman with a carry, or Batgirl Prime and Hawkgirl Prime with a carry, or Arkham Harley Quinn and one of these 3 with another carry. So Batgirl Prime, the reason she's so effective is because you throw her onto literally any team, and that team benefits from her passive. There's not many characters who do that. Most of these S tiers do that, but like not many do it as effectively as she does, and not many speed up your matches as much as Batgirl Prime does. Keep her Elite 0. There's no point wasting stats on her. If you need to throw her on your team and use her as a carry or as a tank, just give her the Fourth World Set. It's that easy. The Fourth World Set is much better of a tank than any card's ability, any card's passive. Same for the LexCorp set. The blocking, 50% more blocking. That will protect your cards. You do not need high stats on your supports. I don't even keep extra copies of any of these cards. Like, I just sell them because I don't want to accidentally promote them. Because it's not worth it. It's frankly not worth it. I have 29 cards in this S tier. This is going to be crazy. Hawkgirl Prime, arguably one of the best cards in the game. Like, there's arguments to be made for all 4 of these cards to be the best card in the game. For supports, at least. The reason being that Hawkgirl Prime allows you to tag in and out more, which lets you use more Tantu Totem power gen and more Master's Death Card power gen. So anytime you team her up with any one of these carries, your matches are going to go faster. She improves as well. The same way Batgirl improves every team that she's on, Hawkgirl improves every team that she's on. She has low stats, so that's nice as a support. Tag her in, tag out to your carry, use a special 2. Tag her in, tag out to your carry, use a special 2, and they're dead. She traps opponents when she tags in too, and out. When she tags out, opponents are trapped. So usually the enemy AI cannot tag out against you and your carry. She lets you shatter gear faster because you can tag in and out faster and abuse the Master's Death Cart Claw of Horse interaction. Yeah, nothing negative about her. Throw her on any team and it'll be better. Even the Flashpoint team, there's an argument to be made that Hawkgirl Prime, Flashpoint Batman, and Flashpoint Deathstroke is one of the fastest teams in the game, or Flashpoint Aquaman even on that team. There's an argument to be made that that's faster than the full Flashpoint team. She's just that good. Arkham Harley Quinn, the only part of her, I mean, she gives a health boost as well to your teammates, so that's good for your carry, having a 25% health boost. But the main part of her passive that we care about is the unblockables that she gives to every single one of the Arkham carries. Going over to look, there's 1, 2, 3, Arkham. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's like 8 or 9. Yeah, there's like 8 Arkham carries over there. Plus, you can use Arkham Knight Batgirl as a carry if you want. So there's like 9 Arkham carries. Oh, AO Batman as well. There's like, oh, and Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight Batman. There's a lot of Arkham carries is my point. And she enables all of them to have unblockable special 2s. No other character does the unblockable feature with that many cards, as well as it being a special 2 unblockable as opposed to the usual special 1 unblockable chance and like the Blackest Night and like the oh no, not Blackest Night, like the Red Sun. Like Red Sun, you can have unblockable special 1s, but not special 2. She does special 2s, so that's just a threat. Unblockable specials allow you to just fly through a multiplayer battle because you don't have to worry about the opponent blocking. It's that simple. She's going to increase the efficiency of any Arkham team, guaranteed. Next up, we have AO Batman. Do not promote AO Batman. Let me tell you why. He starts with 2 bars of power. He can shatter multiple gears with a special 1. He stuns the opponent with a special 1. You team him up with any carry who uses Cloak of Destiny, and he will absolutely speed up your matches because he starts with 2 bars of power. People who use him as a special carry, yes, he's a decent special. He's probably an A tier special carry because his special 2 is 3 hit. It is equally spread out, so it's a good damage spread. But it can only kill one opponent at a time. Only killing one opponent and having to activate 3 special 2s is not ideal. You have to give him Enchantress. You have to give him certain gear pieces for that to work out. And even then, it's not fully reliable. Against Red Sun teams, he loses. He's far worse he's like an A tier carry. Like, yeah, he might work for one team with him on it as a carry. Maybe 2 or 3 teams with him as a carry. You can use different supports. But as a support, he works on literally any team. He works on literally any team. Same as these 4 cards. Even more teams, honestly, than Arkham Harley Quinn does. Because he can shatter gear, and because he immediately starts with 2 bars of power. You don't have to give him Ra's Scimitar, so you can use that on your carry. He's very efficient at shattering gear. He also has it's a single tap to use his special 1. A single tap, quick startup, quick use special 1. Yes, absolutely. Right after him is Red Sun Batman. Why? Same exact thing going for him with the special 1, except his is unblockable. His special 1 deals stun, and it's unblockable, and it gives unblockables to the other Red Sun teammates. So you can shatter gear and pretty much always reliably put the opponent in stun by just starting off with him and the Ra's Scimitar. I'll show you in my videos. You'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. But he's the most effective, one of the most effective gear shatter. Right after AO Batman, and yeah, I think right after AO Batman, he's the most effective gear shatter. Moving on to Regime Green Lantern, that team power gen increase is nasty. 50% increase, even though the passive says like 25%. Nasty. Yeah, you put him on any team with your carry who has Tandu Totem and Master's Death Card, and they'll immediately generate a special 2 instead of having to wait for it. It's honestly, he's a great card. He's a silver card, so his stats don't matter. You can promote him to Elite 10 if you want, doesn't matter. His very low stats. But I'd say keep him Elite 0, throw him on any team with a carry, and you'll have fun. Batman Ninja Lord Joker, he gives the team damage to anyone who is a gunner, any gunner teammates, and that includes Deathstroke. And that includes basically these 2 carries right here, as well as Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight, and some of the other shooters, whoever the gunners are. Like, they all now deal team damage because of his passive. So in that sense, he's a very useful support card for all of them. What is he? 8th on this list. He can also be used as a carry, as a special 2 carry, because part of his passive kind of helps him just remain alive, healing him after he gets a KO. And then he just has a nasty 4-hit special 2. The only problem with the special 2 is that the last hit is the most powerful, and it also won't kill multiple opponents without bleed. So, you know, you need someone to apply bleed. That's why I say keep him as a support, really, mainly, because as a carry, he needs bleed to kill multiple opponents. And he has the most power on the last hit of his special, which means you're often running into Astro Harness Astro Harness barrier issues. So at best, he's an A tier carry, but he's an S tier support because he benefits every every Deadshot, every Deathstroke, every Gunner, really, like Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight. He benefits all of them. Moving on, we have Metal the Batman Who Laughs. He is 9th in this list of supports. He's an S tier support. He can be given Quake Engine, obviously, same as Batman Ninja Lord Joker, to extend the opponent's tag out time. And that's really beneficial for just protecting your teammates as a support. Just having that ability. Honestly, all the Joker cards are at least B tier, I believe, because they can be equipped with Quake Engine. That cooldown increase is very useful online. But aside from that, he has the Savage Robin tag-in as his passive. And, you know, you're wondering probably, like, why not upgrade him? He's a metal card. Why not get him to at least Elite 3 so you can promote his passive? The reason I don't do that is because as a support, you don't need his Dark Power. You don't need his Tarot cards. In fact, you don't even need to upgrade his passive at all. Because every time you tag in, whether he's Elite 0 or Elite 7 fully promoted, Savage Robin is going to attack and trigger a bleed. And that's going to happen no matter what. So that bleed is the most effective part of his passive. You team him up with New 52 Shazam. You team him up with Batman Ninja Lord Joker. You team him up with, let's go over to the carries. Many of these carries don't need, actually a lot of these supports, if you use them as carries, they require bleed to get KOs. Like Blackest Night the Flash, his special 2 will not kill multiple opponents unless there's a bleed applied. So team him up with Metal Batman Who Laughs, and there you go. But like specifically looking over here, bleed also increases the amount of damage the opponents take. So some of these people with like 4-hit specials like Rebirth Raven can actually 1-hit more opponents if there's a bleed applied. So if you tag her in with Batman Ninja or with Metal Batman Who Laughs on her team, and then you also put say Hako Prime on that team, she gets 2 bars of power immediately. She can activate a special 2, and the opponent is bleeding, so they're more likely to die from it. So that's what I say is the most beneficial part of Batman Who Laughs. I think regardless of how you want to use him, this is the best way to use him. Because he can be placed on any team. Put him on Ares Prime team. Now his special 2 does 130% damage. You know, like that's insane. That's an insane damage boost to have on a single hit special. But yeah, that's really all that's important about him. For some characters, I think it's important to mention, he does ruin some characters, like people who require stun, because Savage Robin attacks when you tag in. He's going to take you out of stun, take the opponent out of stun. So he does not work with a few teams, but he works with so many other teams that it doesn't really matter. Moving on, animated Harley Quinn. She's more or less the exact same thing as Regine Green Lantern. Except her power gen boost is not quite as much, but she also gives a damage boost. Like I said, there's no Joker carries. I don't use any of my Joker cards as carries, so, well, excluding Arkham Origins Joker. But, you know, like, the second part of her passive doesn't really matter, granting 40% to Joker teammates. All that really matters is that she grants power gen increase. So, yeah, throw her on any team where you need to use, like, a Tanu Totem Master's Death card combination, and she'll help you out. Not much to talk about in terms of her specials. That's why she's a support. She has 2 very weak specials. She can shatter multiple gear on her special one though, so that's definitely useful. All right, moving on. Blackest Night Batman. He grants the ability to be immune to unblockables to his Blackest Night teammates. So you team him up. Like I said, my ideal team earlier, I said Blackest Night Superman, Blackest Night Batman, and probably Batgirl Prime. Because you don't need a third Blackest Night teammate. With Superman and Batman's passives together, combined, that means they're immune to unblockables, and they also deal unblockables on all of their basics and specials. That's incredible. He's clearly one of the best supports in the game. I've outlined him in yellow because if you want to use him as a carry, he's essentially a nerfed Blackest Night Batman. Um, his special does do more damage than Blackest Night Batman, but Blackest Night Batman makes up for it by doing more damage as the opponents lose health. Blackest Night Superman doesn't do that, and his special 2 also takes a little bit longer to use. Like Blackest Night Batman, you can probably use 2 special 2s in the time that you can for Superman. So I say use Superman as a support card. Keep him Elite 0, throw him on a team with your best Blackest Night carry, and you'll have a good time because in multiplayer, a lot of opponents give their gears towards unblockable basics because it's very annoying to fight against and it'll generally give you a lot of wins. So this guy protects you from all of that. Any unblockable hits you are protected from by Blackest Night Superman. Very good support card. Moving on, New 52 Black Adam. Oh, also one thing to mention about Superman. Claw of Horse can be equipped on him and he shatters, I think, 2 gear, up to 2 gear with a special one, so that's not bad. New 52 Black Adam, now moving on. He's a metal card. I say keep him Elite 0 for the same reason I said keep Metal the Batman Who Laughs Elite 0. You don't want his stats high as a support card, obviously, but you're wondering, like, his passive doesn't even activate every time at Elite 0. Why would you not promote him to Elite 3 at least to get it fully upgraded to Dark, like the Max Dark passive? And my reasoning is that yes, even though it's more consistent, he'll have 120,000 stats. So that really puts a knot in this formula for the teams that I like using him on, which is with New 52 Superman. So this guy, even at Elite 0, his passive still activates. It probably activates about a third of the time, but it's pretty reliable. Honestly, it's a very reliable passive. So you throw him on a team, he can shatter multiple gear with Claw of Horse. And basically, if you use someone with a multi-hit special like New 52 Superman, the first hit will kill the first opponent. The next opponent tags in, and if Black Adam activates his passive, the next hit will kill the next opponent. And then there's only one opponent left. And simultaneously, similarly, if Black Adam activates his passive again, that's it. The match is over. So he's a very, very useful support for that reason. He'll also protect you against enemies tagging in with Master's Death Cart if you're quick. He'll just shock them and you can tag out. So he increases the survivability of your carry, and he also increases the efficiency of your carry. He's a very useful support card at Elite 0. You don't need the rest of his black pass or of his dark metal passive. Like, you don't need the orbs to protect him. I mean, that's a great passive to have. Like, if you want to get him to Elite 3 or Elite 5 and put him on your defense team, you probably could do that. Because he's super annoying to face on offense because of those orbs. If you pair him up with, like, New 52 Shazam and another character who just doesn't take much damage. Black Adam, when equipped with, like, Yin Gold Soda, Killer Croc Companion card, and Batman Ninja Helmet, will take, like, no damage because of the orbs he has. So he's a very effective, tank for defensive teams as well, if you want to use him that way. But as a carry, I don't think he functions well because his special 2 does take a long time to use. If it's blocked, it's useless. And also, that's a big thing. If it's blocked, it's useless. That kind of affects Injustice 2 Superman as well. But yeah, he gets nerfed very much if they block his special 2. And also, it doesn't bypass. Usually, he gets caught by that Astro Harness because it's not like a single hit, so like a multi-hit attack. And it doesn't get around 4th World Set either. So he's very difficult to use as a carry. Maybe a special 1 carry you can use him as, but he functions much better as a support. Moving on, 600 Wonder Woman. Same idea as Green Lantern and Animated Harley Quinn, except she's for female teammates, and she, again, also gives a damage boost, so that's nice. Her Femme Fatale teammates, I've ranked them all here. Regime Wonder Woman, I think, is her best teammate. Teen Titans Raven is a close second. Raven Prime, Red Sun Wonder Woman, Rebirth Jessica Cruz, Animated Harley Quinn, obviously because of the dual power gen interaction. That's the only reason she's on there. Amkami Catwoman, an excellent carry with her. Regime Hawkgirl can be made into an excellent carry with 600 Wonder Woman. New 52 Wonder Woman, Rebirth Raven, Cassandra Cain Batgirl, Arkham Knight Batgirl, Arkham Knight Catwoman, Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman, and finally Killer Frost Prime. Their interaction together, she's right over here in S tier, but you put them on a team together, and then you have increased power gen, as well as the opponent having less power gen. And that's just a nasty, nasty combo to have. If you also use Killer Frost as a carry, that functions just as well. But yeah, power gen increase, super useful for online mode for efficiency because Master's Death Card interacts with it very well. Gaslight Batman, I have him as a support. Actually, his challenge recently came out and people were super hype about it because it's the first time his challenge has been around in a few years. So on my new account, I was able to, I think, unlock him, even though I already had him. I don't have him past Elite Zero. There's no need to, because obviously I say he's a support, but still, it's nice to have him unlocked. But anyways, so why I say keep him Elite Zero as a support is because he will make your carry immune basically to basic attacks because of that weird glitch he has. Even if it doesn't glitch, basically he's immune to basic attacks, which is so freaking useful. Gaslight Batman also has bleed on his special one, and he can shatter multiple gear with his special one. So if you start him on your team and give him Raw Scimitar, Quake Engine, and say Claw of Horse, then he shatters multiple gear. He applies a bleed that affects both the first and second people that tag in, and when your carry tags in, they'll be immune to basic attacks. So that's a very good combination of things to have. That's why I say he's an S tier support. One of the best Batman cards, falling just short to like Red Sun Batman and Arkham Origins Batman because of, again, unblockables on his special one and the fact that Arkham Origins Batman starts with 2 bars of power. Those are 2 very useful passives, so can't quite get ahead of that. But he is the 3rd best Batman in my opinion for supports. So moving on, we have Batman Prime, and he is number 15 in my ranking list for supports. Batman Prime, the reason I have him ranked so high is because he works so well with people who need stun. Starting with a bar of power, he'll shatter multiple gear on his special one, and it's a quick special one. It's much faster than Gaslight Batman's, for example. So you can activate his special one much quicker in a long period of time that saves you seconds. And those seconds add up very quickly. So his special one is very quick. It stuns him, it shatters multiple gear, and he also grants a damage boost to your carry. So all great things to have. And that's why I put him so high up on the S tier list. Moving on, Insurgency Batman, the exact same reasoning as Batman Prime, except he doesn't have the damage boost that Batman Prime has. So he's a little bit weaker. I also have him outlined in yellow. He has a single hit special 2, which is kind of unheard of. Like it's a rare thing to have, obviously. So you can, and he, because of his passive, like the increased damage to stun, he can be a 1-hit team nuke if you want to use him that way. I think that's a fine way to use him. Like truly, he'd be like an A tier carry just because he doesn't get around 4th world set and he doesn't get around like teammate saves like Arkham Knight Batgirl and Batman Ninja Catwoman, and he doesn't get around Red Sun Green Lantern teams. But when he does perform well, like if they're stunned and you use a crit augmented Batman Insurgency special 2 on them and they're stunned, that thing does 300% increased damage. Plus, if they're equipped with Cloak of Destiny and the 4th World Mace, I mean, it's nasty. Their team is going to be dead. So, he has his uses. He's definitely can be used as a carry or a support. And it's surprising because he's such a cheap gold card. You're like, oh my god, he's one of the first cards in the game. Let me go ahead and promote him to Elite 7. No! Keep him Elite 0 unless you intend to use him as a carry, in which case you have to augment him. Without those augments, he's like B tier. But with damage augments and crit damage and crit chance, he is functionally A tier. Moving on, Arkham Knight Batman. I really love this card, but I also really hate this card because when you use him, he takes like 5 seconds just to activate his passive. So that time adds up. Like there's 5 matches in an epic battle or in an epic ladder, and there's 7 matches in an ultimate ladder. So if you like doing that, 100 times in your run, if you like waiting 5 seconds, that's fine for you. However, once you wait those 5 seconds, he does become just insanely powerful as a support and as a carry if you want to use him that way. Obviously, I've outlined him in yellow. But as a support, the way I say to use him, Elite 0, you just give him Claw of Horse. He has 2 bars that he generates that cannot be taken away by like Mother Box or any other like power drain gear because he can be made immune to power drain as well. So that's very nice. He has the multi-hit that can shatter multiple opponents' gear, and he stuns on his special one. The only problem is his special one is a little bit longer, so you're wasting some time that you could save if you just use Insurgency Batman or Batman Prime. Really a lot of time because his passive has to activate on top of using those special ones. But on an Arkham team, like I love using him with like Arkham Origins Deadshot or Arkham Origins Deathstroke because he shatters all of the opponent's gear and he can be made immune to power drain. And he has the favorable interaction. All the Batman cards do when you equip Claw of Horse with Master's Death Cart, those two like in congruity together, they shatter like all of the opponent's gear. Most people can use them together favorably, but there's some people who don't shatter multiple gear with that interaction. But I think everyone in S tier does uh, benefit from that interaction. So yeah, you can always use him that way. Uh, but he functions very well with that. He's a good tank support. Like he'll tank a lot of damage even as an Elite 0 with an Elite 10 on his team. He'll be able to survive. It's kind of impressive. So yeah, definitely S tier. Not the best Batman though, because in my opinion, although stun is better than bleed, and he has stun, he just takes too long to activate his passive. That's why Gaslight Batman is better than him. That's why both the other Batman primes are better than him. But yeah, moving on, we have Batman Beyond. He has a special one that can shatter multiple gear and is very quick to use. That's basically all he has going for him. He also stuns on a special one, but that all of that puts him in S tier. All of that alone puts him above, yes, in my opinion, all of these cards. Just the ability to shatter multiple gear on his special one and to stun them on a quick special one. Those are both very useful features for speedrunning multiplayer, and throw them on any team and it's going to improve. At Elite 0, that is. If you promote him to like Elite 9 and 10, then you waste his stats, or you're wasting your own stats, because then you're on a team with like 140,000 team power, which you don't want. Alright, Earth 2 Flash. He can obviously, I have him outlined in yellow. He's a great carry. I have him as a carry on my primary account. I have him like Elite 8 or 9, I believe, and I just equip League of Assassins knives on him. He functions very well that way. I think he's an A tier carry, but I think he's best as a support, which I have on my other account. And the reason I say that is because you equip him with Solomon Grundy. This is specifically to Solomon Grundy, Earth 2 Solomon Grundy, or an Earth 2 team, really. He stuns the opponent when your carry tags in. So that's just an incredibly useful. And I don't know if it only Earth 2 teammates? Let me see. Yeah, it is. It is only Earth 2 teammates. But still, that chance to stun, even though it's not every time, if you equip Solomon Grundy with like Cloak of Destiny and LexCorp Gauntlets and League of Assassins Knives so that he has increased stun chance on tagging, then he's a pretty reliable instant stun kind of support. So my idea is he shatters multiple gear on his special one because he's a flash card. All of the flash cards are at least C tier because of that. I don't know why I have him in D tier. He could probably be C tier. But all the flash cards are a league above everyone else because they can shatter multiple gear with a special one. And on top of that, if it's a quick special one, so like if you just want to use like with a single kick, you don't have to swipe and it'll be just one kick. It'll finish off an opponent. So you have that choice to use. As a carry, you can only be a special one carry because a special two takes so long to use and doesn't kill multiple opponents without bleed. But if you team him with Metal Batman Who Laughs, that's a kind of favorable interaction as well. But yeah, truly, he just shines the best with an Earth 2 teammate carry. I like to use Earth 2 Solomon Grundy. You tag him in, Flash will stun him, and then you use a special one, and it's over. Match over. All right, Dawn of Justice Batman. He has a multi-hit special one that stuns, so he can shatter multiple gear and stun the opponent. He himself will also survive if like the opponent tags him with Tanu Totem. He has survivability increase because of his passive. He'll always tank the first hit of tank a first special. I've never seen him like just take a special to the face off the first rip. So yeah, he's pretty good at shattering gear, pretty good at stunning the opponent. That's basically it. And his special one does take a minute to use. It takes a while to use, but it's still reliable. It's for shattering gear and stunning them. Moving on, Gaslight Batman. He has bleed on his special one, and he shatters multiple gear on his special one. So those are both very nice things to have. As well as the fact that he can be made into a carry. Like if you want to use him as a carry, you can. He has a very powerful, basically one hit special too. It has the two little stun shots on warm up, and those can be annoying if like someone with low health has the Astro Harness equipped. Those can actually trigger the next Astro Harness barrier. So it's not entirely one hit, but it will one hit an opponent, and if you equip him with like Fourth World Mace, it's devastating because he has stun on his special 2 built in right before the big hit. So he's a very good carry. I think he's an S tier carry as well. I just like using him as a support card because the more Batman support cards I have, the better. the more carries I can use. Like, that's pretty much how I look at it. Batman cards are all excellent support cards. So yeah, he shatters multiple gear, give him Master's Death card and Claw of Horse, and he'll apply bleed and just shatter all of the opponent's gear on a single special one. Yeah, that's basically it for him. Killer Frost Prime dampens all the opponent's power gen by 50%. That's pretty much all that matters for her. Throw her on any team at Elite Zero, and it'll be better because the opponents will have less of a chance to counter you. That's basically it. She can also shatter multiple gear, two gear if you're lucky. Usually it's only one gear on a special one. But her special one is slow, so it's not that fun to use. She has an unblockable special 2. If you want to use her as a carry, that's effective. But because it's multi-hit, I think she's like bottom A tier, maybe B tier. I have her fully augmented Elite 60 or Elite X level 60 on my primary account. And I mean, she's great, but I sometimes wish I still had her as a support on that account, because as a support on my other account, she is excellent. You can throw her on literally any team, S tier support. Moving on, Batman Ninja Nightwing. Again, we have another metal card. You're wondering, you have 3 metal cards here, all S tier supports that I'm saying keep it Elite Zero. Yes, this saves you. Number one, this saves you nth metal. I was able to get Shazam to Elite 6 in under a year by selling all of my extra copies of Batman Who Laughs, of Black Adam, and of Nightwing. You get a lot of extra copies of Nightwing and a lot of extra copies of Batman Who Laughs. You don't even realize it. If you just keep them at Elite Zero, that saves you so much metal. So much metal. You only have half as many to promote. I didn't even worry about promoting Metal the Merciless for a long time either. It's really just Catwoman and Shazam that you have to promote. But moving on to actually why he's an S tier carry. His passive of Power Drain when you tag in, even if it's not as effective as his fully upgraded, fully evolved metal passive, even though it's not the same amount of Power Drain, that little bit of Power Drain will still prevent an opponent who has 2 bars from using a special 2, because it'll pull them underneath. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone tags in with Tanu Tobin Master's Death card, if you have Nightwing on your team, even at Elite Zero, and you tag out, they'll get drained underneath 2 bars. So he still is just as effective of a support at Elite Zero. And, his special 2 is such a weird damage division. It's like one strong hit that doesn't KO, followed by a bunch of weak hits that don't KO, followed by a single strong hit that does KO. So it's not favorable at all. His special 1 is also a meter fill, so that's very unfavorable. But it is unblockable if you get it to high damage, and it does shatter multiple gear. So that's not bad. Mainly you just want him for his passive, though, like his Power Drain passive. That's all that really matters. He can also be teamed with Batman Ninja Catwoman to, like, if you put them on a team together with Nightwing at Elite Zero, he'll at least save Catwoman from a single, like, death hit. So, you don't have to worry about Arkham Knight teams just completely fucking up your flow. You don't have to worry about any accidental Ares Prime tagging in and fucking up your flow. Like, he will protect Batman Ninja Catwoman as a carry. Yeah, so that just is a beneficial part of his passive, that he can tag in for her. He also grants other boosts to Batman Ninja teammates, but there's only one Batman Ninja carry, in my opinion, and it's Catwoman, so, do with that as you will. Moving on, Arkham Knight Batgirl. She can shatter multiple opponents on her, multiple gear on her special 1. She will tag in to save a lot of her teammates, a lot of Arkham teammates at least. So she can be paired with any of the Arkham carries, and she'll save them from a death hit. It's very nice. That's basically it. If you want to use her as a carry, she's also a very effective special 1 carry with the League of Assassins Knives and Cloak of Destiny. She will do a lot of damage to the enemy team. The only problem with doing that is that you're oftentimes going to run into Astro Harness, and if the first opponent doesn't have it, or you shatter the gear on the first opponent with Astro Harness, and then you tag in Arkham Knight Batgirl, she's going to run through the team. She'll run through most enemy teams. She's very effective as a special 1 carry. Probably S tier as a carry, but I just hate using that special 1. It takes a long time to use. And also, after you use it, sometimes the opponent can tag in and counter special you. So unless she has, like, Metal Black Adam on her team or certain cards that will protect her from that, she herself is vulnerable to an opponent tagging in after she uses a special. The same thing applies for Cassandra Cain Batgirl. She's great. She can shatter multiple gear on her special one, so as a support card, she's excellent. Um, she has that passive that knocks off 25% of opponents' health, which helps her finish up most opponents with a single special one if you have her crit and damage augmented. Um, but it does take a minute to use her special one. You have to wait for her to tag in every single time you use her. So over long periods of time, that's just wasted time, which is why I don't think she's best as a carry. I think she's best as a support. Even though as a carry, she's also probably S tier. I just find her more effective as a support card because you can shatter multiple gear with her and tag in to deal a big chunk of health to anyone who likes to use like a invincible Batman Ninja build or anything like that. Um, yeah, so that's basically all I have to say about her. Moving on, or static. What am I saying? Shazam! Jesus, it's been too long. 26th. I have him at 26th in supports. And the reason is he has similar to Batman. He's basically a Batman card, but he's immune to power drain. He stuns on a special one. It's a multi-hit special one, so he can shatter multiple gear, and that's basically it. The only problem I have with him is that he has a meter fill special one, so it takes a little bit longer to use than all the other Batman special ones. Um, but he's still a very effective gear shatter, and because he has stun, any carry who benefits from Cloak of Destiny is a very effective teammate for him. It's great that he's immune to power drain as well because you can start him with Ra's Scimitar without having to worry about the opponent having a Mother Box gear. So he is just an effective support card. John Stewart, Green Lantern. He's ranked so high because of his invincibility barriers. They'll allow any of your carries to survive a little bit better than they would. In the long run, he'll save you from having to, lose an epic battle here or there. He will save you. So for that reason, he's S tier. Um, Other than that, he has nothing going for him. Yeah, he can't shatter multiple gear. He has a single hit special one, so that's just kind of useless. You want him to be the third character on your team with a carry and another support. So like a good support passive interaction between that carry and that support. He's just a good third to have on any team because he will keep your carry alive. Moving on, Red Sun Green Lantern. Um, he's also S tier, single hit special one, so nothing really there going for him. If you want to use him as a carry, his special 2 is 3 hit. It's just kind of nerfed because he's a Red Sun character. However, um, he still can be used as an effective, probably an A tier carry because of his passive. But his passive also, if you're using like, I use a Red Sun Wonder Woman carry, so his passive adds so much survivability to her that basically you can't lose. I mean, you really can't lose if you have him on your teammate or on your team with another Red Sun character because you're immune to stun and you're immune to crit. So you're protected from anything tagging in and killing you. And for that reason, I think he's S tier. Moving on, Blackest Night Hawkgirl. So great addition to any Blackest Night team. I use her sometimes on my Blackest Night Batman team or with Blackest Night Superman. I use them together. She just adds an extra life, extra resurrection. So that's, again, it improves the survivability of your Blackest Night carry. Very useful. She's also outlined in yellow. She can be herself used as a special 2 carry because of her multi-hit special 2 that has a pretty strong finishing hit. So she can KO multiple opponents with a single special 2. It's very nice. I still think she's better as a support because Blackest Night Batman and Blackest Night Doomsday, I think, are just better carries than she is. So yeah, I think she just makes a better support because there's only 6 Blackest Night cards. Same goes for Blackest Night Superman. I think, I mean, he's an S tier carry as well, but Doomsday is just, with Superman's passive, Doomsday I think soars better than Superman does on his own, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think she's meant to be a support card for the Blackest Night team, and she's also the last of the S tier supports. She can't shatter multiple gears, so that's just not going for her. Special one's kind of shit, but it does stun opponents if you want to use Cloak of Destiny on your carry, so that's nice. But it's a low chance of stun, so not as effective as Batman cards. Moving on, A tier. Dawn of Justice Superman, our first A tier card. He's also 30th in my support ranking. I think he's like, yeah, 81. Okay, so 40th is my midway point. I believe 40th is like somewhere here. But so Dawn of Justice Superman, He is also an excellent, maybe even an S tier carry. I just have him as a support card, and I think he functions better as a support card because you don't need to promote him at all. You don't need to waste any resources on him when there are better carries than him that you can waste those resources on. I think he functions best as a support card. Really, it's all because of his passive that he has a chance to shatter all of the opponent's gear temporarily when he uses a special. So if you tag him in and someone has the Astro Harness equipped and you use a special too, he has a powerful 3-hit special too. It's not nerfed like Injustice 2 Superman's is. It has 3 hits that will always hit even if they're blocking. So that's very powerful. I think he's definitely better than Injustice 2 Superman as a carry. But you have to remember that as a support guard, he can shatter all the opponent's gear either way. He has a single hit, or he has a 3-hit special one that can shatter multiple gear with Claw of Horse equipped. Um, so yeah, I use him as a carry if you want to give him those augments and whatnot. But if you're not going to augment him, then he's like a B tier carry, or he's like probably B tier carry. So I recommend using him as a support unless you're going to augment him. Um, Purely because again his gear shattering capability is just higher than anyone else's because his passive is directly dedicated to shattering gear. Batman Ninja Catwoman also has a gear shattering passive, but hers is you have to make her a dark metal card for that to even apply, and by that point her stats are too high. So he's really the only gear shattering card there is in the game, outside of Earth 2 Solomon Grundy. Of course, I always forget about Earth 2 Solomon Grundy. And yeah, he's very useful. Moving on, Red Lantern Hal Jordan. So I have him at Elite 9 on my account, but I use him on my defense team because with New 52 Shazam, he becomes like invincible immediately at the start of the match. It's really annoying. Uh, so that's kind of how my defense team is based. It's Elite 9, Red Sun, Hal Jordan, Shazam, and then any one of my Justice League carries. I'll throw them on the team and see how they do. But as a support card, because he just has basically infinite power, he's a decent gear shatterer. Like you never have to worry about having more power to shatter gear. Um, that's basically all he has going for him. He's immune to power drain. His special one drains power, so that's nice. His special two is kind of mid. I even have him crit augmented. Like I have him Elite 9 crit augmented, so it still just isn't strong enough to wipe teams. He's a very bad carry, but as a support card, he is excellent on defensive teams. And for speed running, I still have him A tier because you can always equip Claw of Horse on him on any team, and he'll shatter gear effectively. That's basically it. So Blackest Night Flash right underneath him, but maybe should be above him. Now that I rethink it, yeah, you could probably put Flash here, but either way, A tier, not S tier. Reasoning being, Blackest Night Flash, the only thing he has going for him in terms of efficiency is that he can shatter multiple gear with a special one, and obviously his passive granting health gen and power gen from dots is very useful for like Blackest Night Batman as a carry, or whoever your Blackest Night carry is. It's a useful part of his passive, but is it more useful than Blackest Night Superman? No. Being immune to unblockables is objectively better, I believe. And you can debate me on that. I'll go there. You can debate me on that, but I think it's objectively better than generating power and being immune to basics like Blackest Night Flash is. Being immune to those basic dodging, like that's not really that useful. It'll protect you some. If you want to use him as a carry, it's a useful feature to have, but as a support, it does nothing. Uh, and the reason I say don't use him as a carry is because he needs bleed to kill multiple opponents with a special 2. And it's also a multi-hit special 2 that has a few weak hits in it. So not that effective as a special 1 carry, which I have him on one of my accounts as a special 1 carry. His 4-hit special 1 is not enough to KO through Astro Barrier. And that's unfortunate because that means he's automatically not S tier. He's at best A tier carry. At best. So yeah, I say keep him as a support, keep him Elite 0. You only need one copy of him, which works out because he's a multiplayer character, and the only way to acquire him is through multiplayer. So yeah, just get a single copy of him. That's all you need. Throw him on a team with Blackest Night Batman as the carry, and he will benefit greatly. Moving on, Batman Returns Catwoman. All she really has going for her is the multi-hit special 1, the fact that she applies bleed on special 1, and the fact that she increases bleed damage. So like if you team her with Injustice 2 Aquaman, that's my favorite team. That's my favorite teammate to use. Injustice 2 Aquaman with Batman Returns Catwoman. If you don't KO an opponent with the last hit of your special 2, they're basically gonna die from the bleed that you apply. If you have like bleed gears or whatever. So very nice teammate for her. She'll go good with any dot card really. As a carry as well, she has a same special 2 as Amkami Catwoman. So she's basically as good as Amkami Catwoman as a special 2 carry. I think she's just more effective as a support card, in my opinion. Moving on, we have Rebirth Wally West. So he's a flash card. You can shatter multiple gear. He himself can survive specials because of his passive. Team him up with like a Rebirth Raven as the carry, and you're going to have a good time. That's basically it. Moving on. Regime the Flash. Oh yeah, his special 2 kind of sucks. Like I have him outlined in yellow, but it's because he's a special 1 carry. His special 2 is very long, very slow. So you just don't want to waste all that time. If it doesn't KO, then you're waiting like 20 seconds to use another one. It's ridiculous. Moving on, Silver the Flash or Regime the Flash, whichever you prefer. I have him in ranked in A tier, and you might be like, why? The speed boost is actually very useful. Some carries who like have end lag on their special 2s benefit from his speed boost because they can activate a basic attack to protect themselves. That small speed increase actually is very useful in the long run. So he actually can be thrown on a team with a lot of carries. I believe, let me see, what team do I have him on? Silver Flash. I have him on a team with Darkseid, Apocalypse Darkseid. And it kind of actually works out because Apocalypse Darkseid, his passive partially relies on basics. So having faster basics is actually very nice. But yeah, outside of increasing the speed boost, he's a flash card. So he can shatter multiple gear on a special 1. And he has the infinite flash combo, so he can protect himself until you need to tag your carry back in. A decent support card, very decent. Red Sun Deathstroke right after him because the speed boost is a little bit less unless you're using Red Sun teams. He can also be used as a carry. He's a good special 2 carry. Not great as a special 1 carry, but I think he's an effective special 2 carry. It's just multiple hits, and it's quick, which I like, and it's not infinite range, so it has a close range, which is kind of annoying, but it's just quick. And because he himself grants a speed boost, it's pretty effective. But still A tier because he can shatter multiple gear on a special 1, and he will promote the speed of your team. Moving down to B tier. Again, all of these cards I say keep Elite 0 because you need support cards to be teamed with your carries. That's just the way this game works for being efficient. You need a teammate with 170,000 around there, and then 2 teammates with basically no upgrades at Elite 0. Anyways, we have, what is this, MKX? Yeah, MKX Scorpion. And the reason I say he's the best Scorpion is because simply his passive is very, I mean, it's very good for making him a carry. If you want to use him as a carry, like, I don't use him as a carry, but I think as a carry, he's probably bottom of A or like B tier, probably also B tier carry. But he's still like that damage boost is nice. The only problem is that he relies on bleed, and like a Blackest Night Flash team will completely counter him. You'll find yourself like unable to do anything against a team that is effective against bleed. So yeah, there is that, like keeping him into the support side. He shatters multiple gear on a special 1, and he applies burn, so they'll take more damage. It's not that bad. But yeah, I put him above the other Scorpions as a support, just because he can be used as a carry, as an effective carry at least at B tier. He has a strong special 2, and his passive makes it automatically crit on the dot. So it's strong. He's just not the best carry because he relies on bleed. Moving on, Classic Scorpion. Classic Scorpion, he has his passive that makes him immune to burning. Doesn't really do much, but it increases his survivability. You can probably use him as a carry, but he's best like on a defensive team. He's a good defensive card. Because he's immune to fire and he reflects special damage back. But he shatters multiple gear with a special 1. Yeah, and he has a pretty quick special 1, so that's not bad. New 52 Nightwing has power drain on a special 1. He has a strong special 2, so if you want to use him as a carry, you can. He has a multi-hit special 2. Uh, but he's also a basic. He's a good defense card basic damage dealer because he can be given like uh, Gingold Soda, Nightwing Ninjato gear, and another like basic reflection gear. So he can be used in a lot of different ways. I just think he's best as a support because he has power drain on his special 1. It's infinite range, and it'll shatter a gear. Not multiple gear, but just a single gear. That's not bad. Moving on, we have what is this? Elseworld Flash. Yeah, Elseworld Flash. Uh, Elseworld Flash. You can shatter multiple gear on a special 1. Same thing for the rest of the supports. You're basically going to hear me say that if they're up above. Um, and yeah, he's not great as a carry because his special 2 is poor, and his passive is kind of he has to be low health for it to activate, so that's not really useful for speedrunning. But he can be given like a special 1 carry build if you want to use him that way. I just didn't outline him in yellow because I think he's more effective as a support. He shatters multiple gear. It's always useful. Moving on, Aquaman Prime. He can apply bleed on his special 1, so that's nice. Anyone who can apply bleed is pretty decent. Give him the Quake engine. Use him as a support card. Give him Claw of Horse. That's probably the best way to use him. I don't think he's a good special carry at all because his special 2 just summons the Atlantean hero, and his special 1 just is a single hit and it's not powerful because it has bleed, so it's nerfed. Uh, yeah, that's all I have to really say about him. I mean, obviously you can team him with like Metal Batman Who Laughs, and there's that cheese interaction where if you give him Tanu Totem, it'll refund his power and you can keep tagging in. Like that's fine, go ahead and do that, but it's slow. So I don't recommend using him as a carry. I recommend you save him for Survivor mode if you want to cheese your way through finishing Survivor mode. That's probably the best way to use him. All right, moving on. Regime Aquaman. He can apply bleed on special 1. He can be a special 2 carry because he has a 4-hit special 2, but he's just worse than the other Aquaman because he can't use the Master's Death card effectively. He doesn't have that good interaction. So yeah, right below the other Aquaman, but he can apply bleed, so give him the Quake engine. You'll have a good time. Killing Joke Joker. He's a Joker card. Give him the Quake engine. If you don't promote him at all, which I haven't, just let him die. Like that's all he's good for. Let him die when you need him to, and he'll help any carry out because they'll automatically refund all their power. So if you don't want to give them both Master's Death Card and Tanu Totem, but you still want to use them as a carry, he's a good teammate to have for regenerating their power if they don't kill a teammate or don't kill an opponent. Zatanna, yeah, B tier support. If you want to use her as a carry, you're fucking crazy because you have to augment her to even use her properly. And why waste augments on Zatanna? She's probably B tier carry at best, but she can shatter multiple gear on her special 1, I think, or like with the Master's Death card and Claw of Horse, she shatters like all the opponent's gear, so that's nice. But she has meter fill on special 1. She just applies burn on special 1, so that's like a decent effect. That's basically it though. Moving on, Arkham Knight, Harley Quinn. She'll protect your Arkham teammates somewhat by preventing them from being killed on like an opponent tagging in. She'll save them a little bit, and her special 1 can shatter multiple gear, so that's nice. Moving on, Suicide Squad, the Joker. Give him the Quake engine. He's kind of bulky, so he'll survive a couple hits. He can also be teamed with Harley Quinn, and he increases her damage. So as a support, he's decent on a team with Harley Quinn. Otherwise, his special 1 can shatter 2 gear, so that's nice. Yeah, give him Quake engine, have a good time. Suicide Squad, Joker, Unhinged, exact same reasoning, except he's just less effective at staying alive. He has a weird passive, like never useful for multiplayer mode unless you just want to have fun. So B tier because he's a Joker card. Killer Frost Regime can be a special 2 carry, but she's just weak. Like it's a 3-hit special 2, but it's not powerful. So yeah, there's better carries. She's probably B tier as a carry. But she shuts off opponent health regen, so that's effective in some cases. And she can shatter a couple gear on a special 1, so that's not bad. Moving on, Black Adam Regime. I mean, he can shatter multiple gear on a special 1. It's kind of slow, but he can. And he has those orbs, so you can reflect a lot of damage if you're lucky. It'll reflect like Ares Prime tags in against you. You tag him in, and Ares Prime will die. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, that's really all the use you get out of him. Not a great special carry, so I don't recommend using him as such. Insurgency, the Joker, let him die, give him the Quake engine. That's all that really matters. He can't shatter multiple gear. His special 2 is ass. But use him as a support card. He's B tier because he's a Joker card. Silver, the Joker, exact same thing, except less effective than Insurgency Joker. Mortal Kombat Scorpion, same thing as the other Scorpions. I just don't like him as much, and that's a personal preference because his passive doesn't do anything at all. Let me read it out for you. The other Scorpions at least have passives that like help them offensively. This Scorpion, where is he? Where is he? There he is. Fire and Blood. His heavy combo causes the opponent to suffer bleeding damage over 2 seconds, and specials inflict fire over 6 seconds. So it's nice he doesn't have nerf special damage, but he still inflicts burn. However, that 2 seconds of bleed isn't enough to do anything. Like most people who have to require bleed, like even if you give him Quake Engine, it that bleed won't be applied long enough to like even matter. So you know, it's not really an effective bleed in my opinion. So other than that, he can shatter multiple gear with a special 1. That's it. That's all he has going for him. In our C tier, we have Lex Luthor Prime. He has the team damage boost, which isn't bad. He can shatter 2 gear on his special 1, and he has power drain on his special 1. That's all useful. The next Lex Luthor, this is Crypto Lex Luthor, the gold Lex Luthor. He grants a 25% health boost. That's decent, or 50%, whatever it is. It's a decent health boost. Other than that, tier carry. He can be used himself as a carry because his special 2 is powerful. However, I don't recommend using him as such because he has a special 1 that is quick. It shatters 2 gear and it has power drain on it, so he's a decent support card. Same thing for the other Lex Luthor. Health boost, quick special 1 that can shatter multiple gear. Catwoman, Silver Catwoman. This is Catwoman Prime. Has bleed on special 1, so applying a bleed is always useful. A multi-hit special 1, although it does take a little bit more time to use. So she can shadow multiple gear though. That's basically it. Same thing for the other Catwoman, Bronze Catwoman now, Regime Catwoman. Multi-hit special 1 that can shatter multiple gear, and she has bleed. Black Adam Prime, Silver Black Adam. Same thing as the other Black Adam. If you tag him in, he can deflect a hit and deal a lot of damage from it. Outside of that, he can shatter multiple gear on a special 1, but he has meter fill, so it's a little bit slower than other supports. Regime Nightwing, Silver Nightwing. This guy can be geared to like reflect a lot of basic damage. It's actually pretty crazy. So if you want to use him that way, you can. But as a support card on a team with like an Elite X level 60 gold, I recommend using him to power drain on a special 1 and shatter gear. You can only shatter 1 gear, but he does have power drain on special 1, and he's a Nightwing card, so his basics go Burt. The other Nightwing, exact same thing. He can shatter 1 gear, but he has power drain at least, so that's nice. Insurgency Harley Quinn. Granted damage boost to your teammates, can shatter multiple gear on a special 1. That's it. Bronze Green Arrow. I don't know. Is that Insurgency Green Arrow? Let's see. Yeah, it is Insurgency Green Arrow. His passive 5% increased damage on all attacks. Yeah, that's basically nothing, but it is still something. So he has power drain on special 1, and he can shatter multiple gear if you give him Master's Death Cart and Claw of Horse. So that's nice. Silver Deathstroke can shatter multiple gear with Claw of Horse. That's basically it. Flash, Bronze the Flash Prime, however you want to call it, can shatter multiple gear on a special 1. That's literally it. He has infinite flash combo as well. Decent bronze card, but in terms of multiplayer efficiency, bottom of C in terms of a support card. D tier, it's like at this point I don't use any of these cards ever. But if you want to use them for efficiency, like you can, but this is their ranking. New 52 the Flash can shatter multiple gear. Might be a C tier. Red Sun Solomon Grundy grants a health boost. That's literally it. And he also grants, Red Sun passive. So if you have him on a team with another Red Sun character that needs extra Red Sun teammates, he contributes to that. That's it. Slow Special 1, you can use him as a C tier carry if you want to. So maybe he should be in C tier over here. Whatever. Silver Green Arrow. I don't know. Green Arrow Prime. He has freeze on his special 1, so you can use Necron Scythe with it. and he can shatter gear, multiple gear if you give him Master's Death card. Not bad. Silver Wonder Woman as a one-hit special one, has a strong special too, but like she's a silver card, so her stats can't even be high enough for that to matter. And yeah, that's basically it. As a support card, she's only above these guys because her special one is fast. It's quick to use, so if you want to shatter gear quickly, she's good. Insurgency Cyborg, Silver Cyborg. What's his actual name? Cyborg. He is colloquially known as Regime Cyborg. He has a 150% power gen increase rate. Super useful for like as a carry, but like for shattering gear, I guess it's nice that he generates power a little bit faster than other gear shatterers. But a special one takes a year to use, so in terms of silvers, he's a great silver card, but it doesn't really matter because silver cards are not useful when you need to earn 5,000 BP per match. They'll only earn you at a max like 2,700 BP, maybe 3,200. I don't really remember. So silver cards just as carries are not effective. They're all F tier or D tier. So as a support, the only thing he has going for him is that increased power gen rate. Solomon Grundys they have Resurrect, so they'll survive a hit if you need them to. Throw them on any team. That's basically it. They'll survive a hit if you need them to. F tier. Insurgency Deathstroke. Bronze Deathstroke. It doesn't even matter. He has a multi-hit special one, so you can shatter multiple gear. That's it. Bronze Green Lantern, New 52 Green Lantern. Trash. What's his passive? Doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. Bronze Harley Quinn can shatter multiple gear. I think she also has like. Why is she ranked so low? Why is she ranked so low? Bronze Harley Quinn. Yeah, when teamed with the Joker, they both deal more damage. That's something, but I don't recommend using any Joker cards other than AO the Joker. And there's better Harley Quinns. So yeah, there she goes. Silver Doomsday, Regime Doomsday, a good silver card, but doesn't really matter in terms of support. He can't do anything. He only shatters one gear. It's not even a quick special one. Yeah, F2. Regime Bane, same exact thing as Doomsday. Silver Sinestro, Regime Sinestro, same exact thing as Doomsday. Nightfall Bane, same exact thing as Doomsday. Green Lantern Prime, same exact thing as Doomsday. I think he has like that little shield barrier, so he has a little bit increased survivability, but it doesn't matter because he's a bronze card. Sinestro Prime at bottom of F tier, one hit special one. All these guys have one hit special ones, you'll notice, except for Harley Quinn and Deathstroke. All these guys have one hit special ones. So you can't shatter multiple gear, and that's all these guys are really useful for outside of their passives, which these guys do nothing. So Sinestro, bottom of F tier. My reasoning that Cyborg is at the bottom, it's fucking Bronze Cyborg, man. He doesn't even have basic attacks. He has no basics going for him, no passive going for him. His specials don't matter because he's a special one and he can't shatter multiple gear on a special one. It also has meter fill, which is the worst of the specials. So he is our overall 144th ranked card, and that's my reason why. Basically a useless card. Do whatever you want with him. Set him on fire if you want. Doesn't matter. And that concludes my ranking video. So let's reset to our page width. Oh, why is it so wide? Zoom back in here. Get that nice and, oh, that's why. Nice and fit. Just one last time just so you can see it all nice and neat. And going over my group rankings, yeah, I said Flashpoint Batman is the best of the Flashpoint cards. He's at the top of support, followed by Deathstroke and Aquaman right over here. I did rank Deathstroke above Aquaman in terms of the Flashpoint rankings, even though overall Aquaman I say is better, because Aquaman works with many other teams outside of Flashpoint, whereas Deathstroke just works with Flashpoint, but he is so much better for the Flashpoint team. So that's why. Blackest Night, I said Batman, obviously, then Superman, obviously top of support, followed by Hawkgirl, who's also an S tier support, The Flash, who's an A tier support, Doomsday, who's an A tier carry, and Martian Manhunter, who I think is at the bottom of A tier carries. Arkham, AO Deadshot, best Arkham character, best character in the game. Strong multi at special 2 that has infinite range, quick startup, quick end lag, unblockable special 2, special 1 that deals team damage, special 2 that deals team damage. All those things going for him. AO Deathstroke pretty much has all those things except for the fact that he doesn't have an infinite range special 2, so he doesn't have the Master's Death Card interaction. That's the only reason Deadshot is better. Then Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight, who does actually have that interaction, but because his special 2 is kind of multi-hit, you can get caught by Astro Barrier, so he's not as effective as these 2 carries. Followed then by Arkham Harley Quinn, who's an S tier support. AO Batman, who I say is an S tier support. Arkham Knight Batman, S tier support in my opinion. Arkham Knight Batgirl, S tier support. Arkham Knight Catwoman, our first A tier carry in the Arkham series. Arkham Killer Croc, also A tier. AO Bane, also A tier. Bottom of A tier though. Arkham Knight Harley Quinn, a B tier support. And finally, AO Joker, who is an A tier carry. I said Arkham Knight Harley Quinn is a little bit better just because that support, keeping your teammates alive, is still kind of useful. I don't really use AO the Joker because I don't have him augmented. So, I don't really find much use for him just because there's better carries. But do whatever you want with him. He's still good. Batman Ninja, I said Lord Joker is the best Batman Ninja card, followed by Batman Ninja, or Batman, yeah, Batman Ninja Batman, followed then by Metal Catwoman and Metal Nightwing. Reasoning being is because the first 2 can shatter gear. Batman can shatter gear, and Lord Joker obviously has all the genre interactions. So he's a very effective support card. Batman Ninja Batman is also a very effective support card. Catwoman is a very intensely good carry and a great defensive card, probably one of the best defensive cards in the game. Same thing goes for Nightwing, except he's a great he's a great support. No bad cards in the Batman Ninja series. No bad cards in the Flashpoint series either. A couple bad cards in Arkham and Blackest Night each. Red Sun, a couple bad cards as well. But I said Wonder Woman is the best. She's a great carry, followed by Batman, who's a great support. He's one of our best support cards. Red Sun, Green Lantern, also an S tier support for the Red Sun team. Red Sun Superman, who's an A tier carry. Red Sun Deathstroke, who's a A tier support, and Red Sun Solomon Grundy finally way down here, D tier. He's our first D tier in these lists. Rebirth, I said Raven as a carry, followed by Green Arrow as a carry, so they're right over there in A tier. And then shortly after that is Wally West. Rebirth Wally West is a decent support for the Rebirth team. Dawn of Justice, I said Batman is the best because he's a great support. Superman right after as also an A tier, possibly S tier support, possibly S tier carry, possibly A tier carry. He's great. He's a great card. Overall, I just said Batman's more effective because of the stun and the gear shattering capabilities. And then finally, Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman is like an A tier carry. On the New 52, I said Superman is the best New 52 card because he's just an excellent special 2 carry, followed by Black Adam as a support, followed by Shazam as a carry or a support, depending on how you want to use him, followed by Wonder Woman as a carry, followed by Nightwing as a support, followed by New 52 The Flash, all the way down here in D tier of our supports. Here's my ranking for the medals. The Batman Who Laughs, I said, is the best metal card because of his Savage Robin passive. That bleed is just insane. New 52 Black Adam is up next. Throw him on any team and he'll protect your carry. New 52 Shazam is the third one because he's an excellent carry if you want to use him as a special 1 or 2 carry with the Batman Who Laughs. And also, he's a great support card as well. Next up was Batman Ninja Nightwing, then Batman Ninja Catwoman, followed by Metal the Merciless. I know you're wondering why is Catwoman so low, but the support cards are just, in my opinion, better than the carries are. So yeah, they're going to be all above the carries. Silvers, I'm not really going to go over that. You can look at it if you want. Same for bronzes. I already went over the Femme Fatales. And then, in my opinion, these are like the best tag team teammates. So Flashpoint Batman as a support for that team. Luchador Bane as a carry for that team. Blackest Night Batman on that team functions very well. Same for AO Deathshot, Deathstroke, and Arkham Knight the Arkham Knight. Regime Wonder Woman functions great on Hawkgirl Prime's team. Same for Antimatter Sinestro, Teen Titans Raven, New 52 Superman. You'll notice most of these cards are in S tier carries. Some of them are S tier supports as well. Suicide Squad Deadshot, Ares Prime, Arrow Green Arrow, Red Sun Wonder Woman, and Kondak Black Adam. I'm saying those are your best teammates for a Hawkgirl Prime team. Or a Batgirl Prime team, however you want to look at it. those are your best teammates for it. And yeah, guys, that concludes my tier list. Let me know what you think. And thanks for watching. And hopefully soon I'll have a video here showcasing all of these teams that I just talked about, showcasing why these carries are S tier and all the best teams for every single one of these carries. I plan to showcase the best teams for all 21 of these guys, as well as the best teams for all 29 of these S tier supports. All right. See you guys next time. Peace.